I don't think you're going to be using that clip there, Trav.
I'll take none.
You take none and like it. Thank you.
Yeah, I will. I will like it. I will love
I'll
it.
take 0 dozen, please.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rudimentary podcast, the podcast where we take the basic things and make them difficult to understand. I'm your host, Travis Rude, and this is episode 16. Once you pass a milestone like 15, you decide to take a look at yourself in the mirror and realize you should probably wear your glasses. So one of our co-hosts' favorite tricks to play when I maybe misspell something and it doesn't come to light in the pre-show. We try to avoid that. Did it happen? No, because we made a mistake in pre-show already. We're going to get right into it.
We did not make a mistake.
That's correct. Thank you, sir.
Guys, I thought we were all in this together.
We are.
You
We
started
didn't. You did.
Well, you've already heard from him. Andy, how are you doing besides hateful as ever?
Doing well. Doing well. End of the work week. It's a good night for that. It's a cooler night out here in the Midwest. I enjoy that. Save on electric bills like that. So, yeah, we got Major League Baseball playoffs going on.
Like that.
Exciting.
A lot of
Exciting.
Yes.
Major League Baseball playoffs. Yeah, so good times all around. WNBA playoffs going on. Not as excited about those.
And we'll get into that.
Yeah.
We will get into that on this. Funcle, before we get over to you, and at what temperature does your house have to get before that heat kicks on?
Boy, with heat, I'm going to tell you something about heat.
Please do.
So heat is easier, I think, in a house, easier to go ahead and do without to a point, right? Because you can always throw more layers on.
True.
Yes.
Right. Yep. Like if I lived by myself, it would have to be like really, really cold for me to turn the heat on, because I just put on sweatshirt, maybe a t-shirt and a couple pairs of socks or something like that. Just natural gas is expensive. I'd go ahead and bundle up. But
there you go.
I don't live by myself.
No.
And so the heat comes on probably, I would say, if the house in the winter gets to about 69, the heat would come on.
Yep. My man.
All right. That's the story, and he's sticking to it. Funcle, over there on the West Coast, first off, how are you, sir?
Well, it sounds like the heat is on because
it's on the streets.
Thank you, Glenn. I'm good over here. We're sitting at the room temperature around 72, 73. So it's pretty nice. Had overcast for sunset last night, but not tonight. I had a beautiful sunset on the beach of Venice. Blood in the streets in the town of New Haven.
Wow.
Hey, all right.
Blood in the truth in the
This
palm
guy
trees of Venice.
Acai bowl?
Oh, tonight, baby.
Yeah.
Got my acai. Dude, I'm down 30 pounds. I'm down 30 pounds. Yeah, acai.
Acai.
That's right. I like that.
Dude, I have to know. What do we have in tonight's acai bowl?
Acai?
I have my normal thing now. So have half full with a acai, quarter filled with some coconut. It's like a coconut sorbet. So that's in there as well. Then I got some hemp granola. Yep,
Okay.
we're in California, baby.
Do it.
I got some, yeah, yeah. Got some almond butter, strawberry, banana, blueberries.
Ooh,
The antioxidants are rocking, and
mm,
some toasted coconut on top with a drizzle of honey for
That's
shizzle.
a drizzle.
man.
Yep. Oh my gosh, it's delicious.
And watching the sunset.
Yeah, yeah, and getting a gallon of water at my watering hole,
All right.
alkaline O2.
Oh, alkaline water. Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
Man, you're just oozing health.
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
So
Congratulations.
thank you, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
I'm
That's weird.
turning the corner on that. So yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
Yep.
While
Good
you
job.
ooze health, over here in the Midwest, Andy and I are not oozing health. We're well. I can't speak for Andy, even though I'd like to. Let's see.
Go for
Tonight,
it.
what did I have? A couple chocolate bars. Had
Oh, nice.
hibachi. Went out with the
Hello.
family. We had hibachi, had teriyaki
Yeah.
steak.
Okay.
So that was pretty solid. Came home, had a an Oreo cookies and cream cone, like drumstick type thing,
Sure.
and capped off the night with a couple chocolate bars. And well,
Man.
we're not done yet. Soda.
Oh, we got some soda. Got some
Oh,
sodies.
man.
This guy.
This guy has not been to the doctor in a
Yeah.
while.
Hey,
Is it-
I want to make a correction because I brought up I said Walter Matthau when I think we all know that when I said something about diabetes,
Oh,
we
Wilford Brimley.
Wilford
Wolford
Brimley.
Brimley.
All
You
right.
came in with the Wolford Brimley. I was thinking it, but I said the wrong thing. So
And look at that. A correction.
yeah,
Yeah, this
yeah.
is a pro deal here.
It definitely rubbed my ears the wrong way. So
Okay.
yeah,
Oh,
just wanted to make that correction.
you
We
you are absolved.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're
in
welcome.
making this difficult, these easy things difficult to understand. We take pride in it.
That's right.
Well,
You got a lot of pride up there.
I
All
do.
of it.
I mean, polo glasses. I almost look the part of somebody who might be confused for respectable. Yeah, but we'll change that as the show goes on.
That's true.
And as much fun as we like to have, every once in a while there are things in the sports or entertainment world that happen that kind of bring us down or cast a sad cloud over the show. And this past week we had one of those happen, depending on where your stance is on this particular individual. But when it came to playing baseball, Pete Rose passed away, and I believe we touched on it in one of our early episodes of just how important baseball was to all of us.
Right.
Whether you guys played, I played Wildcat for years, but I mentioned it on the show. Pete Rose was one of the reasons that I fell in love with baseball. Pete Rose, watching him play and hustle, Charlie Hustle. That was one of the things that did it for me. Seeing a guy with a bowl cut that just looked like some schmo off the street,
Mhm.
that just walked out of his barber chair and decided I'm going to throw this jersey on and see what happens. But
Yeah.
sprinting to first base on a walk, just hit after hit after hit, and just like Johnny Bench said, treating every at bat like it was a do or die game. And every game, Bench said he didn't want 3 hits, he didn't want 4, he wanted 5 hits. And the next game, he wanted 5 more. And he loved baseball so much. If I say the name to Andy, let's see, if I say the name Ray Fosse to you, what do you think of?
Freight trained.
In what type of game?
All-star exhibition game.
All-star game.
Exhibition.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know the story, it's an all-star game, and Pete Rose just comes barreling into home and separates his shoulder, separates Ray Fosse's shoulder, and
He was in
Fosse
the way.
pretty much never the same.
Yeah.
And it was just the way he played. He played an all-star game like he played every regular game. So Pete Rose passed away. Wanted to touch base with you guys. Andy, growing up, mom was a fan of the Big Red Machine and like them, she loved Johnny Bench. But Pete Rose passing. What are your thoughts on Pete Rose as a player? And then we can touch base on the after the career.
Yeah, I think uh, Pete Rose was a quintessential baseball player to where I don't know if baseball didn't exist, what this guy would have done. It just seemed like he was put here to play baseball. It if there was something, if there's probably a recording of the guy somewhere saying, "It's all I know," would be my guess.
Yeah.
But that seems like a guy that baseball is like all he knows, and knew. Uh, I mean, the hits number is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Um, it it just it'd be sad in itself. The whole thing's sad just because of the way all the off the field stuff went. Um, so you can't help but um, I feel sorry for Pete when it came to the what he what he did, and it's tough because I mean you watch those tapes and the guy played hard
Right.
every time, like you were saying. And I think any of us who are sports fans, you're always I'm always rooting for the guy that plays like that, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
a Pete Rose, and even though I was a Bears fan, a Brett Favre
Okay.
on the field,
Yeah.
that just left everything on there. It's tough. I mean, it's one of those ones that hits you because you just don't. It's for me, it was kind of out of the blue. It just doesn't. You just figured Pete Rose is always. Pete Rose is always around, right?
Mhm.
I saw Pete Rose about 6 years ago when I was in Las Vegas. He was signing. He was contracted at the time at this place that that sold celebrity autographs and whatnot, and like 2 or 3 times a week. He lived out in Vegas
Yeah.
and would do signings there. So I didn't get anything signed, but I saw him signing. Now I don't know if you remember, Trav. We met Pete Rose.
At the Coliseum.
Yep, he was at a drop the puck at a Comets game probably 25 years ago.
Damn.
Um, well, let's see. It would have been no, it would have been more than that,
Yeah.
30 or 35
Yeah. You're about
Jeez.
years
35.
ago.
Old
And
man.
yeah, we did get autographed baseball and things like that. So um, yeah,
Still
sad.
got it. Still
Yep,
got that ball.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
yep,
I, I
That
still
went
have
up
it.
in value.
yep. It did. You're right. And I'll say this also about Pete. Beautiful signature.
There you
You could definitely tell it's Pete Rose, right?
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
go.
And
With
that's
with
all I have to say about that.
That's all he's good.
and with
Gump.
Pete Rose, you guys, you hear today's. We've talked about it. You hear today's baseball players, and Mike Trout has that reputation of playing baseball the way it should be, or the throwback type of player.
Mhm.
Obviously he's injured again. It's tough to watch a player with that talent go through and get injured. And after Pete passed away, you saw the stat everywhere. If you were a player today and you had 20 straight years of 2,000 hits, you're still you're still 300 hits.
How about 200 hits?
Yes,
Because you got 20 years of
20
2000.
years,
You are
200 hits.
You are the champ.
Doing so won't do it. 20 years of 200 hits,
okay.
and you wouldn't be close.
Yeah.
You'd
Yeah.
still
That's
have what 300
astonishing.
hits left.
Astonishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's one of those unbreakable records. Funcle, over to you. Pete Rose, memories, thoughts on the loss of a baseball legend.
Well, it's kind of funny because he's one of the guys I picked not to want to go on a road trip with. because of so that might have hurt him. That might have put him over the edge.
Way
I'm
to
sorry.
go, Funcle.
Sorry about that. Yep. But yeah, he's one of those all or nothing baseball players that we love seeing seeing on our team. Hate seeing him on the other team though. And you're like this.
Especially if you're the catcher.
Oh my gosh, I don't want to see that dude at all. This rah guy popping it up and sprinting down to first. I'm like, what is this Yahoo doing? Um, so third pitch, that guy's getting dropped.
What?
I'm ruthless.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. These. Who are you? This is the
Hey,
stuff
these
that
are
I
the
used to
ABCs
say.
of me, baby. Revisionist history.
They just died, and you're talking about plunking them.
Oh, if I had a chance, heck yeah, I did. But that's the sign of a good player and a respectful player is when he's on the other team. You don't want to you don't want any part of him, and he'll be that team player that everybody wishes is on their team or they're happy that's on their team. You know, you've had that. I mean, my brother is that guy. He's great when
Oh,
he's on your
definitely.
team. Yeah. But
Yeah.
man, that dude will jaw outside of that. So that's one of what I'm trying to say. Yeah, he's iconic. It's unfortunate that his career is overshadowed with something that he was doing outside of playing the game. You know, he was already done playing. He was just managing at that time, right? Which
What is player manager?
was he a player manager at the
I
time, or
think
was he a
so. I
straight
don't think.
manager?
I don't think he. I don't think. I'd have to look it up to be sure. Maybe I can
Okay.
do that as the show goes on.
I don't have to. We're not big on facts around here.
It did.
Yeah. But regardless, the dude is in the dugout and wagering on games, and he always contested that I only bet to win my games. But then the other hand of that is when you don't bet, you think you're going to lose, kind of thing. So
Yep.
um, yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, the dude was a legend, and I'm guessing that he will go into the Hall of Fame since he's passed now.
Now, does Paul Giamatti have to sign off on this?
I certainly hope so.
Okay.
You
Well,
can ask him when you're in the car with him.
yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh,
On the
we'll
road
be
trip.
talking about it.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. He's got some opinions because I mean, some say that Pete is the guy that put Giamatti into the grave while Giamatti took him out of the hall.
Hey,
Wow.
comes full circle.
Giamatti.
Nobody said that. I just said that. I've never heard that before. I'm going to say it though.
He is on fire.
Oh, tonight is your night. Look at this guy go.
Hemp granola, baby.
This is what happens when we schedules don't line up and we're unable to record
Yeah,
for a week.
been too
for the
long.
first time.
Well, yeah, I mean now it can be said that
What?
that's been said.
Yes. Yep. So
You know,
you
never before,
Yeah,
but
correct.
now
Now,
it has been
yeah,
said. I
now
can
people can
tell
be like, yeah, you know what
Yeah.
I heard?
exactly
Yeah,
because I did.
yeah. So
I
you can
heard
say that. You're welcome.
you mentioned it. You hated seeing it on another team, and I have a couple baseball cards when he's in a Phillies jersey. Come on,
Yeah.
A what jersey?
Phillies jersey.
Well, how about an Expos jersey?
Expos. That's the
Ooh.
one that really sticks out. That is like, what
Yeah.
are you hanging on for, bro?
The cool logo.
That was a cool. I mean, it's cool now,
What
and
was that logo? What
it
was
was an M. Did you know that?
Uh-uh.
Ooh.
Yeah, it looks like Elb,
Yeah.
but that was an M, and it had the
Uh,
three different colors of
oh, Canada.
Francais.
Yes, Andy.
Mm,
Color. Thank you, Funcle.
Yep, France.
Francais.
We
mm.
come from France.
That was the colors of the French flag.
Yeah. Were the Expos uniform? Did they have an all-white version?
Wow, they surrender.
What is it? Every time.
The other thing that you brought up, and I want to, Andy, we'll get back to you. Is it? How do you feel when / if he does go into the hall? Now, is it? I've read some articles where people say, yes, it should happen, but it's more of a slap in the face now. Hey, he's gone. He can't enjoy, the celebration, the welcome to the hall. Andy, I wanted to start with you on your thoughts on Pete Rose win/if now that he's gone, getting into the Hall of Fame.
Well, he should, because it was a lifetime ban.
Exactly.
Was it
There
not?
you go.
Yeah,
Yep.
Honest to God, lifetime ban.
Yep.
You die in prison, they don't keep your corpse.
True. That's right.
That's
If you die
truer
before
words have
you get
not been
executed,
said.
you're still dead.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Pete in the hall.
There it is.
Book it.
Lock.
Yeah.
Fun. We're going to move over to you. Do
Yeah.
you consider it more slap in the face, or of them welcoming again win/if they do into the hall?
I don't have a problem with it at all. I think that that's not a slap in the face. That's showing that this dude was a hell of a player, and he did things that nobody else was able to do. And so for him to go in the Hall of Fame, I think that's important for passing on the stories of baseball. I mean, in my opinion, you couldn't write the story of baseball without talking about the guy that has the most hits ever. So that's why it's important for him to be in the Hall of Fame. And it could be one of those stories of tragedy that people need to be aware of. And especially now when we have all this online betting and the different things that are happening with Otani and during this year. I mean that whole scandal being exposed. So things are still currently going on for people to be made aware of and to know what are the penalties and the repercussions for something like that, because there are consequences and repercussions, Rude.
You're right.
Mhm.
There certainly are.
So that's one of those things that I think he's paid those with, as it is now, his life, and for him to be put into the Hall of Fame, I think that is what should be done, and probably the same thing with Joe Jackson, but that's a whole different story.
Yep. And I think it,
What was Shoeless Joe a lifetime ban too? Did they use the word lifetime?
Yeah.
Oh, that
Yep.
guy's got to get in then.
That's been something that's been floated around since Field of Dreams.
Oh,
Yeah.
Shoeless Joe.
you just
Charlie
wait for
Hustle.
those veterans committees to surprise you and say, all right, or the what is it, the old whatever the voters, the old timers.
The Writers Union?
Isn't it a group that does like when you guys that are like from 1911 that get in.
Yeah.
But Pete Rose definitely should be in the hall. Hope it happens sooner rather than later. We're going to move on. We're going to keep on the topic of baseball, and we're going to talk about the playoffs. And as I mentioned earlier, we were unable to line up schedules to be able to record. It's not like there was anything going on. It was just the beginning of the Major League Baseball playoffs, the beginning of the WNBA playoffs, just minor that WNBA award season. So not much
Didn't
happening
sound
there.
like much. Nope,
We
not
wanted
much.
to talk about the four remaining teams, but also touch on a thriller of a game between the Mets and the Brewers. So in the American League, it was full of upsets. We had Detroit, who was a 6th seed, taking out Houston, which we'll talk about. What a unique situation that is with Detroit. City, the 5 seed, beating Baltimore, the 4 seed. So now we've got the Yankees versus the Royals and the Guardians versus the Tigers. In the NL, we had the 6th seed New York Mets beat the perennial first round exit team Milwaukee Brewers. And we had the San Diego Padres and Braves. So we had 3 sweeps and 1 game that went to the 3 games. So that
Pretty
leaves
memorable.
an amazing game.
Yeah.
The Mets versus Phillies, San Diego versus the Dodgers on the NL side. That couple things from round 1. The Tigers, they were 10 games behind, 110 games into the season. So at the 110th game, they were still 10 games out of a playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
And so in 10 games or in 52 games remaining, they made up those 10 games. And not only that, I saw a stat going around where their payroll this year was less than one of the Astros starting pitchers in the series. So,
Awesome.
yeah, that's amazing. That's baseball. That's
Mm.
fun baseball. And then the other thing you heard Funkel comment, and I'll let him kind of talk about it, the deciding game for the Mets and Brewers that just happened. Funkel, did you watch it? Did you watch it as it was happening?
Yeah, I was watching it live, and it was pretty fun to see something like that because I've been leaning towards a Cubs fan most of my life. My main team are the Blue Jays, but I've been leaning towards the Cubs because I lived in Chicago and it was local to us. So I'm not a Brewers fan.
Hmm.
And I do like Bob Uecker. I love that he is their announcer exactly, Harry Doyle up in the booth. So I love that guy. And so watching the game and seeing the Brewers in the playoffs, I definitely wasn't rooting for them, but they have some exciting young players, and for something like that to happen, and I've been seeing all over social media with a lot of the Mets or the Mets announcers announcing the at bat by Pete Alonso like it's his last one with the Mets because he's a free agent after this year. And so it's all they start playing the music from Moneyball, and then he hits the 3-run homer to put him in the lead in the ninth inning, and turns everything around, leaves Milwaukee fans silenced, and it was quite a dramatic game. And then they came in the bottom of the ninth and closed it out. So it was pretty exciting to watch something like that.
And it was kind of business as usual for the Brewers, who are perennial
Yep.
early washouts of the playoffs year after year. Uh,
Yeah.
as we turn this to something that means a lot to all of us, I had a 6-game parlay, and as I
Yep.
was telling Funkel before the show, uh,
Yep.
top of the ninth, had 5 out of 6 legs hit because I needed a Mets player to get a hit. He did. Mets are
Hmm.
down 2-0. The last leg to that parlay is the Brewers to win the game. Brewers money line.
Brewers up 2-0 in the
Yep.
ninth.
The Mets
Looking
hadn't done
good.
much all game. I think they had 4 hits maybe all game.
Yeah.
And I'm just refreshing, waiting for that money to deposit in the old account, and then
Hmm.
Pete Alonso. Thanks, bud.
Yep.
Anyways,
Yeah, I
we
mean, what
Andy,
what a way to celebrate Pete Rose's passing, right? By betting on
There
baseball.
it is.
Way to go.
that's
There it
exactly what I was
is.
Way
thinking.
to go.
Placing those
Hmm.
bets, he'd be proud of me.
No, he
And
wouldn't. You lost. He wouldn't be proud of you at all. It's
no,
No.
like,
as I'm
why
placing
would you?
that, as I'm placing it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely proud of that.
Yeah, and then not proud as Alonso rounds the bases, and I'm
Right.
just why
Yep.
I bet. Andy, did you see the highlights of the game, or did you watch the game?
I didn't watch the game. I was kind of following along on my phone. I get a lot of my updates from either sports apps or X/Twitter is always fantastic for up
Yeah.
to the moment reactions.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, it's a great barometer of what's going on. That's kind of how I was following it last night.
Okay,
I got an update for you guys.
go
Mm,
on.
There are 8 teams left in the playoffs, but 4 series. So if
Yes,
that's what you meant by the 4 series,
yes,
I like this.
okay.
the
Just
four.
letting you know.
Um, the the 4 series that are left. Which one? Which one are you most looking forward to? For me, I'll start it out. It's
Go for
Yankee.
it.
The evil empire could be back, baby. World Series number 28. It could be just around the corner.
Oh
So
my gosh.
I like their path to it. They've got a 5 seed. It's Yankees Royals. So I that's what I'm looking forward to. This one. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
who exactly? Who are the 8 left?
you've got Detroit facing the Guardians.
Yeah, Detroit. How about those Tigers?
mhm.
Yes, small ball, baby.
You just
New
saw
York,
them. Didn't you go up and see Scooble pitch his last
yes,
regular season game? That dude's
yes,
gonna be the Cy Young winner.
dude, yeah, that put him at, well, I believe he got the no decision. He was 17-4 heading into that,
Right.
and that's fun. That was
And
fun.
when I said that to your text, what did you say your text back to me?
Cy Young
I
Award.
no, I said that's the Cy Young award, and you're like, yeah, well, I had him at 9+ K, so he didn't make his bet. Pete Rose is not proud of you, brother. You're losing all over the place. You're
Yep.
losing. You're losing everything.
Yep.
Oh, touch
Yep.
me and I'll sue.
Touch me, I sue.
So
And
we
keep betting like that, and they won't sue me for what?
It's, exactly.
So American League, Yankees, Royals, Guardians, Tigers. In the National League, Andy's favorite player is still playing. That would
Yeah.
be Bryce Harper of the Phillies,
Yep.
and the Mets, Phillies, Mets, and Dodgers, Padres. So
All
those
right.
are the 4 series that are left.
Oh man.
Well, let's do a little thing here.
Okay.
Who does Major League Baseball not want in the World Series?
That would be a
Kansas City and
Tigers
who?
Padres series.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So you've got the dream scenario. I think we all know.
Yes,
Dodgers,
which is
Yankees.
yep. Well,
Dodgers, Yankees. I mean,
Judge
coast to
Ohtani.
coast.
Yep.
Judge Otani, two storied franchises.
exactly
Yep.
the history of the franchises.
Um, or these small
Well,
market team like
Detroit or Kansas City representing the AL.
Yeah,
yeah,
there's
but
possibility.
but even it's just like Kansas City. I mean, it just
Well, they at least have some superstars on there that people would recognize their name. You won't recognize any of Detroit's names.
Aside from school.
Most people wouldn't know that.
Yep. Yeah,
So
most
this
casual fans.
right.
yeah, but
Uh,
I think they would draw better from the standpoint of just
I
the,
don't
the
think
sh-
so.
sheer
Kansas City does.
size and location of Detroit. I think they've got a bigger national following, I would think, than
I,
Kansas City.
okay.
I mean, I think.
I think it would be the opposite because the Chiefs are champions and they share the parking lot. So I think there's going to be a
I
lot
think
of
you just proved my point. You called them the Chiefs.
That's why I said that on
Oh, they
purpose.
shares the parking lot with the Chiefs.
Shares
Oh,
the
I
parking
thought you
lot
said
with the
yeah.
Chiefs. And I said, you have the Chiefs being the world champions and with the Royals in the same parking lot, in the same town. And for them to put another notch on the belt, I mean, I think they will represent that well.
All that has to happen is Travis Kelsey and T Swizzle show up to a game,
Mhm.
and there's your draw.
Oh man, it's the
There-
opposite of what's going on right now, isn't it? Where is Taylor? Talk. That's dominating that whole thing right now.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
What's going on? You got
He
news?
hasn't gone to the last 2 games.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
Oh,
well the
okay.
way he's been playing, I wouldn't either.
Damn.
We
You guys are haters.
Man. Oh,
you
you're telling us we're
I
haters.
know it. I don't know what's going on here.
you calling hello kettle. Um, you mentioned it. What baseball wants to happen? It's in the banner. Could we have the teams of the leagues meet?
Yeah.
And yeah, baseball is just drooling for this possibility. Do
Mhm.
you see it? They're both number one seeds. Funcle,
Yeah.
do you see it happening?
Well, I thought the Orioles would be represented a little bit better, and I called them to be in the World Series. At least I got in the playoffs, so I am proud of that. But yeah, I would love to see the Yankees Dodgers go at it. That would be fantastic. That would be great for as baseball fans that we all are. We would love to see that happen and welcome in a whole new era of fans to see these superstars, and I'd love to see them, doing their thing and being able to play well. And I'd
I
love
mean,
to see what Otani can do in
Yes.
there as
that'd
well.
have to be. I mean, that's the 2 biggest teams, right?
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yeah, by far.
I mean, I think the only thing bigger than that would be um, maybe Yankees, Cubs.
That yeah, that would be
Yeah.
good. I mean, Cubs obviously represent well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that would be a monster,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
we're not getting that anytime soon.
No.
you
Thanks,
could have
Northside.
some Miami, and any other team, and just have an half empty venue for the Miami fans.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, and we should address that the last game in the Oakland Coliseum was played.
Dude,
And that whole Oakland A's are going to be like what kids talk about now, like we talk about the Expos, right?
yep.
So people coming up and seeing the A's and not knowing where they're from, and there's going to be 4 years that they're just going to be playing it wherever they can. They're going to be barnstorming. It sounds like,
And, well, that was like Dad would talk to us about the Brooklyn Dodgers.
yeah.
So yeah, it's all things like that. And Andy, I
Speaking of which,
mentioned one other
before we
storyline.
move on, I'm sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt. You brought up the Brooklyn Dodgers. I I want to take back my Marv Albert pick for the commentators.
Wow.
Vince
He is-
Scully. Vince Scully
Oh.
is who I want in my booth. He was traded from the Brooklyn Dodgers to LA Dodgers with the team. That's how good of a commentator he was. One man in the booth, story time on Grandpa's lap. It's fantastic. He was such a great storyteller. He's one of the best to ever do it. So, retraction.
we're gonna have
Wow.
to we're gonna have to sidebar.
Yeah, the notes are going to have to be updated on the.
Yeah, my apologies.
Can we go back and edit that, and then when Funcle makes his pick,
Yeah.
we overdub the audio?
Oh my gosh, that'd be great.
Yeah, we
do like editing
mouth.
of the F word somewhere.
Then
yeah,
just
exactly. We just overdub the audio and leave the video the same,
Uh-huh.
or we don't even use his voice
No.
because he was unavailable. We have somebody doing an impression of
Hello,
his.
everybody. Vin Scully. And it just says Vin Scully. I'm like Marv Albert.
we'll get back to you next episode and see if we allow that. It's got to be a
Okay.
majority decision, just like it's a home run or nothing here on Home Run Derby.
That's right. Thank you.
One other topic, as we mentioned, the Detroit Tigers, the $18.3 million payroll is a storyline, with them advancing. The Yankees and Aaron Judge, the Dodgers and Shohei. One that's going under the radar that I'm going to let Andy comment on first is Bryce Harper's quest for a World Series title. How much attention of yours does that quest get, Andy?
Well, I mean, just on general principle, I don't like Harper.
Wow.
I don't like the way he looks.
Yeah.
I don't like. I don't like the. You remember the press conference when he went to Philly, and he didn't know what the hell city.
Yep.
He was saying, I mean, that right there is the epitome of Bryce Harper to me.
Yeah.
This guy, this kid that comes in and now he's the next greatest thing, and all these big contracts. Man, this guy, he rubs me wrong. Just man, PG-13. I've got some stuff to say.
Yeah.
I got
It's
some
John,
stuff.
here
to
we
say.
come.
Yep. But gosh, dang it.
Yeah. Did you like the comparison that he's LeBron James and Spikes?
Yeah, I mean, it
Sports
doesn't
Illustrated
surprise
when
me.
he was
What
16?
Yep.
Yeah, get him out of here, man. He looks like a travel baseball player.
My.
You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
looks like that guy. The guy that hits the jack, that's got his jersey unbuttoned 3 buttons,
Uh-huh.
and stares down somebody on a single.
Oh,
That's Bryce Harper.
that's Bryce Harper?
That's who I think that guy is. Yep.
How does the headband make you feel? Like when he rips his helmet off and he's got his headband. That
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't he?
Yeah,
Why wouldn't he? I mean,
it's true.
it's like somebody, like a crime was committed and somebody went ahead and like compositely drew what the guy looked like,
Yeah.
and they're like, the guy that robbed us was a complete douchebag.
douchebag.
and what he looked like, and they
Mhm.
drew him, and they'd be like, "Yeah, that
That's
looks
the
like
guy.
him."
Yep,
Yes.
that's him.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
If baseball has a douchebag, it's Bryce Harper.
there we go.
I'm not saying he is one.
Oh,
I'm
you're
saying
not
if
justifying that?
baseball had one. I don't know
Right.
that baseball, to my knowledge, baseball does not have an official douchebag. But if they did,
If they needed a douchebag for
I know their guy.
I
Funcle, let's see if your cake is as hot as that one.
no
Bryce
way.
Harper side quest for his first title. Where does that rank on your storylines going into this next round of the playoffs?
I don't have any problems with Bryce Harper. I actually like him.
Of course you don't.
He's the modern day Pete Rose. I mean, he hustles everything out.
Whoa. Sir, I will eject you from this room.
I bet you won't.
I double dog dare you. No,
Please.
I don't have any problems with him. As far
Okay, he's back. There, I
oh,
just,
he kicked me out. Man. Give me the hook.
I just
He
lost a
came
bet.
out and got the baseball from me.
all right, kid, you gave it a good run. We're doing
Yeah, we're gonna have Betty Spaghetti come in here and close it out for us. She's already out in the bullpen.
Ready? Yep, warming it up.
No, I don't have any issues with him. But the only problem I would have with that is that means that they would be in the World Series and the Dodgers aren't with Ohtani. So that's my issue.
Okay, and everybody who's listening to the show knows, that's your ultimate goal is just see Ohtani in the World Series.
Yeah.
And rightfully, I mean, after the year he's put on, it made sense that these two, and that's what really excites me as a possibility that you could have that Yankees Dodgers rivalry, but not just the rivalry for historic purposes.
Right.
The two best players in baseball are playing for these teams. And that's what I'm looking for. So I want your picks. I will go one by one as we wrap up this topic. Andy, we've got the 6 seed Tigers versus the 2 seed Guardians. Who you got?
I'm gonna go with the Tigers. I think they're hot.
Hot. Funcle.
Wow. Who was it again? Tigers who?
6 seed Tigers, 2nd seed Guardians.
Oh, Guardians got some good players. I'm taking the Guardians.
All right.
And Jose Ramirez was one home run short of a 40-40. He had 39 home runs, and they didn't get one extra day because it was rained out.
Yep.
So he only had 161 games this year. So that's a
hit a home
bummer.
run in the first game next year. And
Oh man, that would be incredible. So yeah, I'll take the Guardians.
all right. Other American League. Andy, we've got the 1st seed Yankees, the 5th seed Royals.
Oh, the Yankees.
Funcle.
Give me the Royals, baby. Give me them Royals.
Contrarian.
All right. Over in the National League, we've got the 6th seed Mets versus the 2nd seed Phillies. We'll start the National League with Funcle.
Phillies, baby. Phillies
Andy.
all the way.
The Mets.
Oh, here we go. All the way. We're
All right.
split on this.
And the 4th seed San Diego Padres versus the 1st seed Dodgers. Funcle, obviously, who you got, kid?
I'm going older brother, LA Dodgers.
All right. Andy?
Oh yeah, the Dodgers.
All right. We
There
have
we go.
agreement. We have agreement.
He's a sensible man.
Yeah,
All right.
I want to see that matchup.
Yeah.
And that,
Yeah, if you want to throw your picks out, bud?
I'm going to go Tigers, Yankees, Mets, Dodgers.
This your parlay?
Yep. So you
Niner?
can count on it not to hit. At least one leg won't hit. So
Hey, by the way, how many? Let me throw this out there. Bryce Harper. How many? He's played for? This is 12th season.
Okay.
How many times has he hit over 300?
Do you know the answer or just ask?
I do. I'm looking at it.
Okay. Over 300 modern day baseball, I would say maybe twice.
3 times.
Ooh, I was close.
All right. How many 100 RBI seasons?
out of 12.
Yep.
He's had a couple injury shortened ones. I'll say 5.
2.
Whoa!
Hmm.
Jeez.
Now you see a career 281 hitter,
Okay.
336 jacks, and yeah, only
12
two.
years. That's it. 336.
Yeah,
Yep. Those
yep.
Wow.
injuries and he
Only
remember he had
hit.
a couple years where he
Well,
was
let's see. You know, his injuries shortened seasons. He had let's see, 118, 118 games, 100 games, 111,
I'm sensing a pattern.
58,
yep.
99. The rest were all north of 125.
Okay, so
But
five shortened seasons.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, the RBI count's pretty surprising to me for somebody who makes that much money. What a douchebag!
Yeah. You know what's surprising is that Mike Trout is only, I think, 6 months older than Aaron Judge.
Really?
Yeah, look that up. I think they were either 6 or 8 months apart, but they're within a year of each other age wise.
Didn't know
Aaron
that.
Judge was in the minors for a long time.
God, that's
Mike Trout,
crazy.
Mike Trout was so dominant from 21 up. And Bobby Witt Jr., he's the first person, I think, under 24, either 24 or 22, I think it's 24, that has had multiple 30-30 seasons.
I believe that.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's
Yeah, I
pretty
mean,
insane.
this is so crazy. So, career home runs for Mike Trout, 13 seasons.
Okay.
What do you think?
Uh, he's north of 300. So I'm saying 380.
Wow, Trav,
Uh 337.
378.
Woo! I was so close.
Yeah.
So close.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. But I mean, we talk about this and we talk about injuries and things like
Yeah,
that. It's like, um, boy, it just seems like I don't know. Maybe it was contracts and whatnot, but you just I'd have to ask Dad
yeah.
about guys getting injured back when he was growing up and stuff because
Mhm.
like, and maybe it's just because we hear the all timers, the Mickey Mantles
Right.
and those guys you know um just playing through
Play
stuff.
through it. Yeah. Yeah.
Which I mean, obviously, with the amount of money they got tied up in these guys, they're going to go ahead and not risk a lot of that, as you
Right.
see every time somebody gets pulled when they near a no hitter, which seems to be the new thing.
Mhm.
That's just insane to me. But it's
And
that's money.
that, yep. And it's one of your favorite sayings is load management, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
You
Uh,
go you go to
load
what ifs.
management.
And Mantle, what if DiMaggio didn't call him off at the last second in his rookie year and he didn't
Yeah.
step in that drain
Mhm.
and just destroy his knee? And
Yeah,
look at the player he still was, and that was his rookie season.
Uh,
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and also alcohol. But that's another topic. Let's but you look at what baseball hopefully now dude, if it's Yankees, Dodgers, the lead up to
mhm.
that, how much marketing you'll see of
Yeah.
Otani versus Judge. And
Right.
people always complain about the lack of marketing the superstars. You know,
Mhm.
and it was could you pick Mike Trout out if you saw him in a gym, for example? You know, he's a big guy,
Right.
so sure, but in a gym, could you pick him out? Could you go, oh my god, that's Mike Trout?
Right.
Um, and baseball has to do a better job of marketing the superstars, and hopefully you'll see that, especially if
That's
the Yankees and Dodgers meet.
that's a good point. I think the casual fan could pick out Shohei Otani because the dude's large.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, and I think Aaron Judge because the dude is large.
Yes.
Six
But yeah,
eight. Right. That
what's
dude's
that?
a 6'8", right?
Let's see here.
And Otani's
Six
6'5".
seven.
Yep.
Okay, 6'7".
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got
I
a
didn't know
brother
that.
named John Judge.
Jeez, that sounds like a character, a villain.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
So
yeah, in some kind of graphic novel.
It's weird that you mention villains. Andy, do you have anything else before we move on?
About villains?
No, about Judge
This is
Otani.
a segue. This is a segue, buddy.
Um,
Just say no.
no.
All
Segue.
right, moving on.
Good work.
We're talking about villains because you mentioned it. Let's go on to our next topic. That's right, folks.
Perfect.
Joker, Folia de came
Look
out
at you with your
October
French.
4th.
Give it up.
I'm going to not say much because there's one gentleman on this panel that is dying to talk to us about the movie. Go ahead. Not even mention a name. Take it away.
Well, I didn't see it.
And I wish I was in your shoes, my friend.
Oh my God.
Wow.
This is damning.
I'm not gonna re-see it. I saw
Wow.
it once. I saw it opening day, and it was. I was definitely hopeful and willing to look past like the musical aspect of it and thinking that it was an artistic choice. And sure, that I'll go along with all these things. Especially you get Lady Gaga. I seen her as Harley Quinn, which would be fantastic. And so I was extremely hopeful and sitting in the theater. I knew there was somebody called up Houston because there was a problem. I was at the opening screening, first screening of LA, and it wasn't what didn't come on at 3 in the afternoon. And so we're sitting there at like 3:20, and they're still working on it, and I'm like, this is not a good sign. So I just look into like superstitious kind of things. Like this is a sign that things aren't the way they should be going. And so they just threw it straight up there, no trailers or anything. As soon as they fixed the problem, and it went straight into it, and we got to see this. And I think that I mean the movie itself threw us off, but that didn't help us get in the right footing. But it was one of those things where I noticed only a couple of times people walking out of the theater and just don't have anything to say. There's not like chatter or anything. We walked or waited all through the credits. Nothing there. Nothing. We're just leaving out a little something like, oh, give us something. Throw us a bone. Or I mean, we're all fans. That's why we're here opening day to see this movie in the theater. And it just ended. Saw the Warner Brothers logo, and then house lights came up, and everybody's just like kind of walking out dazed. So it's not something that I can stand behind
Okay.
personally.
And that is your non-spoiler review. Um,
I was trying so hard not to spoil
I
it.
can tell. I can tell. Um, do you like, before I get over to Andy and ask a follow-up question, but
Sure.
did you like, I'll say, the format, for lack of a better term, what he was trying to do with the whole, take away Joker, the actual characters, but that whole,
Yeah.
how would you describe it? Musical, what would you
Um,
describe it as?
well, it's almost like fantasy, right? Like daydreaming kind of thing, like musicals are. When I mean, there's no one in reality that's busting out into a song and everybody starts snapping their fingers and joining in. That is Fantasyland. That is daydreaming. So that's exactly what it is. So they're using that as a way to explain his. I don't think they said bipolar, but multi personality.
Okay.
And so that's why he's on trial, and they're trying to figure out if this is just somebody that knows what they're doing and blaming on somebody else, or if they're really crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Andy, will you be seeing it opening weekend?
Um, it depends. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it open weekend, but with the reviews that I'm seeing, I do think that opening weekend is going to be busy, at least
Mhm.
up here.
Yeah.
And I anymore, unless it's some big a Star Wars or some, one of the big Marvel movies. I don't need to be at the theater opening weekend anymore.
Right.
So I may wait till next weekend. I'm feeling that the theaters will be a little bit less busy
I think you're right.
next weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely going to see it. I think I'm in a unique position. Well, maybe not so unique, but in a position now to where my expectations have been tempered way, way down. So I think there's a chance I may enjoy it more than the experience Jake had with the real high expectations.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Could be.
know, I mean, it's one of those things to where can it? I mean, we had a text conversation earlier, and it was uh, he, it was pretty brutal. The reactions. I mean, it was like um, this is definitely softened from what we were talking about in the text, but it brings me to something here. Can what what is going on at film festivals? You mentioned it
Mm,
with a 11-minute ovation at the Venice Film Festival, a
yeah.
respected film festival. What
Absolutely.
happens there to cause an 11-minute ovation and
I
it
don't
to
get that.
and it to be a misfire by all accounts?
And you saw we talked about it. We talked about some of the headlines that were coming out of the film festivals, some of the
Right.
reviews, and I'll look those up when you guys are discussing more. But I remember one of them said something, already
Film of
back.
the year or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah, and and that's where in pre-show I talked about was 40% Rotten Tomatoes. Last time I looked, Andy,
Mhm.
you might be able to tell me if it's gone down or gone up.
Yes, I think it was sub 40 by now.
Okay. So we're sub 40. Uh, and that's why I alluded to it with you, Funcle, and I'll ask you first, Funcle. Do you think that people weren't ready or weren't understanding, um, the premise of the movie? Do you think that contributed, or do you think it was just bad?
I think it was just bad. And for you to have to prepare an audience for your film, you're not doing a good job as a filmmaker.
Now
I
say that.
mean,
When explain that.
so what I'm saying is that if I have to tell you the mindset that you need to be in to go in and enjoy my film, then you're not doing a good job as a filmmaker to find that emotion in the audience. That's what you're trying to convey as a person that's using visuals, audio, and and trying to find those emotions in people, and not just find them, but to draw them out. I mean, you are wielding that, and that's what happens when it comes to the sound. You hear the sound going up, and you can hear the ebbs and flows. They are playing you literally like a fiddle to get you to emote. And if I come in there and be like, all right, so here's my movie, it should speak for itself. But if you're coming in there and be like, well, you got to be in the right headspace, and this is what I'm going for, and that kind of thing, that turns into your kid's school project. It's for me.
Mhm.
So you shouldn't have to tell an audience where they need to be in their head to be able to understand your film.
What do you think with this was was the problem? Is it the fact that people had an expectation based on the first film and it went is it that tonally different aside from the singing, take the singing and the
Uh,
musical aspect out because I
Okay.
don't think the musical aspect was your problem that
Not
you had with it.
necessarily, no.
Yeah.
No.
So I think what everybody was expecting to be possibly the issue isn't what I'm reading in reviews and stuff as the issue. It's
Yeah.
something totally different.
Yeah.
So is it so tonally different than the first film, or is it just I've heard it's beautifully shot.
It's shot the same way. I
Okay.
mean, it's
All right. So
it's dark, dirty, but beautiful.
okay.
Yeah,
So is it just a bad story?
I think so.
Okay.
I can it wasn't something that I was getting along with. I was hopeful. I mean, I'm looking to all these different characters that are in there and how they could be. And again, I well, not again. I haven't said that, but Todd Phillips, I like him as a director. I've met the dude, good dude, from the 5 seconds that I met the guy, and he's done some incredible things. I mean, we quote some of his movies all the time. So I mean, and Joker was something that was out of the norm for him to do something that way, that dark, and everybody was surprised at the first time. So doing a follow up to something like that that's not your normal genre or normal I don't know persona.
Mhm.
So it could be something that he's taken a big swing, and I thought he missed.
Did
And
it feel like this was something that the studios wanted more than he wanted?
no, no,
I mean,
this
as far as based on the popularity of the first film.
well,
Like,
are you talking about just Joker 2? I don't think he wanted to do a Joker
that's
2,
what I mean.
but yeah, they
Did they throw
packed
a
up
big
a
bag of
bunch
money
on
at him?
absolutely,
Okay. So
and
so
so
there
they
was
gave
no story. This wasn't a story he needed to tell or
I
wanted to
don't
tell.
think
It's like,
so.
"Hey, we need another one of these."
Yeah, I
And
think
it's like,
that's what it was. The studios
"Okay,
wanted another billion-dollar franchise to be able to come in there, and Joker is one of the best villains out there,
yeah."
and I mean, each time they've been done, it's been uh, what did Jack get nominated? Well, regardless, but there's no other villain that has been nominated more
That
than Joker.
that yeah, because I think it's argued that, Heath Ledger's version, upstaged Batman
Yes,
in
yes,
in the film.
right, yep.
Obviously, is it the first major villain to have his own film?
Um, well, I mean,
In I mean, of
pre
an established character,
uh, uh, yeah, I think there
you
have
know?
been
I
other
mean,
villains that have had
if you
movies,
wanna
but
go comic book, would this have been a better movie, or would it have been better in your mind if it wasn't a Joker movie and these were different characters, or it just wasn't good?
I I mean, Joaquin Phoenix does a great job. I mean, he's doing a great job as Joker and as this character. Um, so I didn't get down with the story. I didn't get down with what what they were doing and what they
Mhm.
were going for with most of us. So I was trying to be allowing and laughing at jokes that weren't necessarily funny, but you're trying to like be encouraging
Yeah,
as you're watching something like that when you're optimistic and you could see something like one of your favorite bands, and you go there and they're doing some riffing between setups, and they say something that could be funny, but it's not really. But you're just trying to do them a solid, and so that I'm doing that most of the movie, and then when it's over and the crescendo and climax happens, I'm just like, what? This is what we get out of this.
yeah.
So
So,
yeah.
worst part of the film without saying what it is, I mean, is it story? Is it, uh, the characters? Is it the end? What's the one thing that just was like, "Yeah, that's it."
Well, probably the end because that
Okay.
I mean that is where it all comes to it. It could have been saved with a good ending because it has all those aspects of filmmaking in there. So if there was a ending that I liked better or made more sense or could be something for the future, then yeah, that would be one of those things that I'd be like, oh man, the way that they ended this was incredible. That any ending, any movie would be saved by a great ending.
Well, there you have it.
That
There it is. The
that's yeah.
non-spoiler can't get too detailed, even though he wants
That was
to
tough. Oh, that
review.
man.
And
You seem exhausted by that. I mean, by
That
that
was a
discussion.
lot.
It
I'm
seems like
sweating.
it took a lot out of you to go ahead and
Yeah.
even talk about it.
And
Yeah.
not even
Is it
It-
fair to say you hated this movie?
oh,
no, it's not fair to say that
Okay,
because
so
there are so many
what's your
different
emotion? What's your
different
emotion? You
disappointment.
blanked this movie. What? Okay, the movie
Uh,
disappointed you.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
all right.
It's
And
not that I'm upset at the movie. I'm just disappointed as a parent.
And that can be worse. That can be, yeah.
It was.
we'll get
I'll let that
on
be
the,
a
ne-
lesson.
on the next episode, we'll get Andy's review if you've seen it by then.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
get Andy's take on it. Andy, I know
It
you're
could
a
be 10
huge
episodes down because I'm revising my picks from what, 5 episodes ago?
Okay, yeah.
exactly.
Of this fella?
So my
I mean,
upcoming
yeah,
will be my review,
It'll
there you
be
go.
anarchy.
Perfect.
Um,
and it'll be a spoiler review.
oh,
Oh,
Watch
dang.
the movie
Yeah.
or
uh,
don't.
Andy, you're a huge Lady Gaga fan, so I know you're looking forward
Sure.
to it. Funcle, real
Yeah.
quick,
Okay.
stronger character. Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn or Joaquin Phoenix? This Joker, this movie Joker.
That's tough. That's a push
Okay,
between both.
okay.
So,
For this
so
one.
good performances, bad movie.
We'll say yes.
he is struggling, folks. We're gonna help move him out of that, and we're going to
Why don't you join me backstage during that?
we are going to move along to another painful topic for one of our hosts, and that's right, it's
Mm.
curtains for Caitlin.
Quite.
The amazing year has ended for Miss Caitlin Clark as the Indiana Fever bow out 2-0 in their first round playoff series against the Connecticut Sun. Andy he was feeling it. He had one lock already on Rudimentary, and what I love about it, he went for it. He picked the 4 winners, and he had 3 out of them. Sorry, trust me, 3 out of 4 on a parlay doesn't hit. I know. I've been
Yeah.
there.
I've
Unless
also-
you round robin it, but that's a whole nother.
Oh, man.
So Caitlin Clark bows out, and a couple things that we're going to dive into this topic for a lot of it, just like we relied on Funcle for the Joker review, we're going to rely on Andy for this topic. First off, Andy, how do you think the season as a whole went for the Fever? And how do you think they looked in the playoff series? Do you think they looked ready for the playoffs? Do you think they looked overmatched? Connecticut, not a powerhouse, a good team, but not a powerhouse. From the stuff that I watched and read leading up to it. So first off, the season for the Fever.
Oh, it was better than the WNBA thought it could be. They improved on their win total by 7 games over the previous year with almost the exact same team. The only addition being Caitlin Clark. So to go ahead and have a upswing of 7 wins, make the playoffs for the first time in since 2016. That's and playing in front of sellout crowds almost the entire season is home and on the road. All the top selling games involved the Indiana Fever. So yeah, I think across the board, it's a huge win for the Indiana Fever, for Caitlin Clark, for the WNBA as a whole. And as we were talking with Major League Baseball, the league did not want to see the Fever exit this early because ratings are down 2.5 times since she's got eliminated. Still stronger than they were last year
Yeah.
in these playoff games. So there was fan retention at a higher level. But yeah, the WNBA wants the Fever in there, and the Fever, interestingly enough, just appointed a new GM today.
Oh,
So one of the trending things out there right now is interesting talk of some people saying that Cheryl Miller, Reggie's sister,
yeah.
who coached the coached Caitlin in the All-Star game,
Yeah.
Some people are calling to see if maybe there's some whisperings of Cheryl Miller being brought in as coach, which would be a ballsy move because even as much as I question Christie's sides, they still made the playoffs. And she, I believe, won Coach of the Month 1 month. I believe that's that's a hard one to make. But man, I'll tell you what, how much sway there is somebody if there's a feeling that they aren't using Clark right, or somebody's got a better way. I mean, I think we've seen it before that you can plug a different coach in there if you don't think something's going right. You've seen it in the NBA.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be interesting to see next year. But as a whole, it was a huge success for the league and for Indiana especially.
And what about the playoff series? Do you think they looked overmatched? Do you think they
I think
looked
the first game they did. I
Okay.
think the first game they did. I thought the second game they made some good adjustments. It just, um, there's too many missed opportunities
And
is what did them in. I think they looked kind of tight the first game, but I don't. They didn't look that way the second game. I just think that they looked like a team who hadn't been in the playoffs before.
Okay.
That's exactly what they were, and so no, I don't think anybody picked them to actually make the playoffs. So yeah, I mean, not disappointed by it. Looking forward to year two. I think, Clark had played basketball at either college or in the WNBA for almost a year straight.
Yes.
I mean, had like what 4 weeks between the end of the college season to win. I think the draft was 2 weeks after her college season, and then the WNBA season started 2 to 3 weeks after that. So she
Yep.
almost had a year straight of playing high level basketball at the college level and then the pro level. So there's nothing more she needs than to just not play basketball until next season. I think she said she's playing golf.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
maybe she should have used some load management, huh?
No,
Oh my.
don't think so.
Oh
No,
my.
Nope. I
she
think
handles her loads just fine.
yeah, she is a gamer.
Okay.
And I think in the two playoff games played almost every minute. I know every minute of the first game, I believe, 40 minutes that night and
Uh-huh.
most of the second game. So no load management there, Funkel.
But could she have played better and won those games if she had taken some time off between college and pro?
Well, I don't know what. No,
Okay.
no,
All right.
There it is. Uh,
man.
do
How's that feel?
you,
Man,
I
yeah,
love
I
it.
don't know. You know what? You don't want to play sports, then don't play sports. How about that? You want to sit on the bench, watch TV with the rest of us. My couch is open. Somebody can come over here.
See, there's your
LeBron
load
can sit
management.
there. Um,
My-
any of these other any of these other NBA players who want to go ahead and not they want to paint their toenails and
Uh-huh.
do this crap instead of like play the game. You get
Oh,
paid to play the game. People
Shay.
want to go watch you play the game. Play the game.
Yeah. If you want to paint your fingernails and lose games in Chicago, I mean, get drafted number one and you can.
But as long as you're out there,
As
Yes.
as
long as
long
you're
as you're
out
out
there.
there.
He's out
playing
there and loving every minute of it, Jerry.
Andy, do you think it's warranted that the GM is replaced? Like you mentioned some of the accolades. You mentioned 7-game improvement,
Yeah.
playoffs.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what they did with the GM, right? The
Okay.
GM is a senior advisor now. So not
Oh, still in house.
yeah, one of those things.
Yep.
Right.
So
We've
yeah,
got this position for you. Ironically, it wasn't around just last week, but it's
Right.
new. We think you'll be
so
great.
what's the first thing a GM wants to do, right? They want to put their stamp on things,
Yeah.
right? And now you go ahead and you replace the other GM
Okay.
who hired the coach.
Right.
This GM has no
We don't want this coach.
relationship with that coach. It's not
No.
her
Get out of here.
You
her
hear them all
coach.
the time.
It makes
in
it
the
a lot
NFL.
easier to go ahead and replace the coach
Okay.
with, hey, I appreciate what you've done. We're going to
Yeah.
make some changes. I've got a vision here that we're going to go ahead and follow.
Right.
Thanks for the
Yep.
effort.
Yeah.
and I think that may be where it's headed. I think with another, I don't know where they pick this year, maybe 6 in the draft.
Right.
Um, yeah, the league wants those guys in there in the for a playoff run. That's and that's what the fans want to see.
And you mentioned Christy Sides, and we had talked about it earlier. She had talked about at the beginning of the season when there were struggles, and I forget the exact quote, but she had mentioned they're trying to play small ball in a bid person's league, basically saying, "Hey, we're playing 2 dart, we're playing 3 dart," but the changes she was able to make that resulted in the success of that, is it enough to keep her job, or is this new GM and possible new coach? You talked about it, Andy, a lot. Do they need a big inside? Do they need another shooter on the outside if Kelsey Mitchell leaves? Where is their priority in the offseason?
Um, I think I would. Well, yeah, it depends on if Kelsey Mitchell leaves. If she leaves, then that does something maybe a little different. But I would. They're going to lose Nolissa Smith underneath, and so they need a big to go ahead and offset that. I mean, the highest scores tend to be the post players. So you really need that. You have 2 good post players, and you can go ahead and really free up the outside shot. So that's where I'd like to see him go. We'll see.
And it's
I got a question.
yeah,
Isn't there wasn't there you like to compare the greats? Wasn't there a similar thing with Jordan in Chicago when his rookie coach they got pushed out, right? And then
Tim
they
Ford,
brought
right?
in Phil
Doug
Jackson,
Collins.
Doug
Doug
Collins.
Collins, and then eventually Phil Jackson,
Yeah,
and I think they did the same thing
yeah.
in LA.
Right, and Collins was there for a few years, but the first year they won the championship was Jackson's first year when he was in there. So, yeah, they recognized that they needed to do some stuff. That's a weird, an interesting thing that you bring up there because our uncle is actually writing a book on Phil Jackson right now,
Oh wow,
and so I'm interested to see what's in the book, to kind of get behind that because you know do the Bulls win those championships without Phil Jackson? I don't know. I mean, they're good enough to. Do they do it? Is it um i-
yeah,
the thing with Phil Jackson is the way he managed personalities, I think more than like the X's and O's, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Keep people grounded and that kind of stuff. But he also had some of the greatest players ever to ever play the game on the way to those 11 titles. You
True,
go from, he's not going to Atlanta to coach the Hawks after the Bulls. You know what I mean?
right?
And why would you? I mean, after that, you and then you do the Jordan Pippen run, and then head over to L.A. for the
Yeah,
Shaq Kobe run. Um,
and the weather.
yeah, and the owner's daughter.
Yep.
Yeah,
Um, so
Jeannie,
yep,
Jeannie Buss.
yep.
They
So
they
yeah,
got
I mean,
married. Her and Jay Moore got married. Hear that?
no kidding.
Yeah, Jay Moore.
Uh,
Can you believe that?
no, I can't.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, it's it's interesting. I mean,
right.
there's a clock on everything these days. I mean, it
What,
used to be
what was
as
that?
there's a clock,
Thank you.
yep, on everything these days.
Okay.
With trying to take advantage of these players and their careers. I mean, you don't see any WNBA players starting at 18 and entering the league right at 18. So these are like old school NBA to where everybody's 22 when they hit the league.
Mm,
So um, at 22, LeBron James was in the league 4 years.
right.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if there's going to be a coaching change. It's going to be here soon, but we'll see. But yeah, that wasn't. We had some other big Caitlin news. I don't think it's all that surprising.
Yes, we will talk about that in just a second. I wanted to throw out a couple names with this new GM and a new coach. Andy, I'm going to throw 3 names out, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to gauge your interest. Um, as could they fit with the Fever? And these are either restricted free agents or unrestricted free agents. The first one, Dejanay Carrington.
No.
Okay. The second one, Kennedy Tartar.
No.
All right. And
I
then
mean, both good players. I don't think they're good fits for the Fever.
Now that I'm really, really interested because with like you said, the GM wants to put their stamp on, and what better way than to bring in another superstar? And there is a superstar unrestricted free agent by the name of Brianna Stewart that is going to be available this season.
Championship.
There it is, folks. If she comes,
yeah, but it looks like New York's going to win the title. They Las Vegas tonight just survived pushing. So New York's in that series 2-1 right now, but it looks like they're going to get by there. And I mean, New York could make a run the next couple years, and it's a big market team. She's one of the founders of the 3-on-3 league that's going to happen here in the off season.
Yep.
So, I don't know. She doesn't need Caitlin Clark's shine. So, but her numbers would improve.
There you go. Funcle, now that you've spoken so much on the topic and that you've had so much to say throughout the year on the WNBA, two things. One, will you watch next year, knowing how much we talk? Go ahead. You're already ready. You've got your answer.
No.
Okay.
No.
Secondly, and a more, I'll say, serious question: do you think that the momentum carries over
for the Fever?
For the WNBA as a whole?
Yeah, with Caitlin Clark maturing and coming into her own as a professional, yeah, I think that it'll grow with that. But it'll be telling with watching these playoffs and her not being there. I would hope that people would show a little more respect and say that it's this is a one person league. I'm sorry, and if you don't support that or don't try to push that, then that league is gonna go bankrupt like it did before she came along.
Yep,
in my opinion.
You've got to market some of these other girls. People know who Caitlin Clark is.
Yeah.
You've got to start marketing some of your other stars now that you have these TV deal that they signed. And
Right.
Stephen A. Smith, I enjoy listening to sometimes, even if it's whether it's just the language he uses, the excitement in which he speaks sometimes. But our good friend Ort sent us over a video where he was talking about Cheryl Swoops' comment, and basically the comment talked about the Indiana Fever and the improvement they're making. And Cheryl Swoops has been well documented as not as big of a fan as Caitlin Clark as a lot of people are. And Cheryl Swoops, a legend when it comes to women's basketball, rightfully so, accolade after accolade. She went through and she named three girls on the Fever as, hey, they keep playing this one. And Caitlin Clark was not mentioned.
Ridiculous.
And she's been getting a lot of internet time because the podcast she's on. But Andy, did you watch? I'm sure you read the comment, but did you watch that video with Stephen A. Smith?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we haven't talked, and we'll talk more into it after the season's over as we do a recap. But real quick, what do you think is driving? Is it jealousy? On Cheryl Swoop's part?
When at Skylar's wedding, my daughter's wedding, I was talking to Sam about it. My uncle, who's writing the book about Phil Jackson, written books on Jordan, and I asked him. He's not a WNBA writer, but he watches basketball all the time. And asked at the time, that was what, in August? July? Somewhere in there? Yeah,
I think it was
you know,
July.
yeah. So what if if Caitlin Clark was for real? At the time she had a few games under her belt, and he told me, he goes, yeah, she's for real, and he said her problem is that she's playing in a mean girls league,
Oh,
and so I would tend to say that the jealousy aspect is a huge
yep,
problem
yep,
uh there. And for whatever reason, it's crazy, right? Because the entire league is benefiting from what she's brought, now,
mhm,
you know, um, but yet, you either want it or you don't.
right,
The salaries are going to go up based on this season.
mhm,
What happened this season? There's one reason and one reason only. She is if she doesn't do if she isn't drafted in the WNBA, it doesn't exist. WNBA draws 4 or 5,000 fans a game, if that,
if that.
and it's continued to be subsidized by the NBA, and it's a second tier, you know, sport that you see after polo on ESPN. You
Yep,
know, um, so it's crazy, that the jealousy on the professional level is what it is when you've got somebody in there that's says all the right things.
right,
I mean, on the court, she's a hell of a talker. So, to the other teammates, she's not saying the right things on the court. She's a competitor.
mhm, okay,
Just in our games, back our playground basketball games
yep,
that we played. I mean, there was a lot of trash talking and a
of
lot of,
course,
you know, now
mhm,
just add money into that and a huge crowd and that kind of stuff that it's
yeah,
amplified, right?
for
So,
sure,
you know, trash talker, all that kind of stuff, but in front of the mics and whatnot
yeah,
is a great face for the league.
yeah,
Um, she even the president of the Fever was doing an interview, and she brought up that when these arenas were selling out on the road games, um, Clark approached her and asked if there was a way for the extra revenue on these road games, when places would be moving to bigger arenas
right,
because the ticket demand was more than the arenas, like Atlanta
mhm,
would end up playing where the Hawks play because there was that kind of ticket demand, they'd sell out the Hawks arena.
mm,
She wanted to go ahead and see if there was a way that the players involved in that game, for Atlanta could be paid more
yeah.
because they're drawing bigger crowds because of that. But I guess, whatever financial buyers.
Owners are in Atlanta are like, "No,
Yeah.
no, there's not."
Yeah, there was something stopping that, but that never made the news. You know what I mean? And until after the season, the president brought it up.
Yeah,
So, as a face of a league, she's doing right now all the right things. Um, so it'll be interesting in year two. There's a hot prospect out of UConn coming out, which I think will only help maintain interest in the league, especially for the people that are the Clark haters. There's a large contention of those people who are real NBA WNBA fans, which okay, but it's going to be one that they're going to Paige Buckers out of UConn is going to be one that should be the number one pick going to LA. And yeah, it'll be interesting next year. I think Jake's right. I think they'll have. I think you'll see carryover, and I think you'll see some pretty decent attendance next year as well.
And we're gonna move on. Stay on this topic real quick because Andy, you mentioned it, and I wanted to make sure that we brought it up. The WNBA awards were handed out a couple weeks ago, and unanimous award. That's right, a unanimous award was handed out, uh, but not the one you may. Well, I'll say only one unanimous award was handed out for the main awards. Uh, that's right. The MVP was undoubtedly Asia Wilson,
Hmm.
unanimous MVP, the best player all year, just heads and tails above the rest. It kind of harkens back to whether it's some of Jordan's best years, whether it's some of Gretzky's best seasons, that he was heads and tails above the other hockey players, and that she's heads and tails above the league. But there wasn't a unanimous Rookie of the Year, and that has garnered some attention. That's right. Caitlin Clark received 66 first place votes for Rookie of the Year out of 67 votes. The other vote going to a Miss Angel Reese of the Chicago Sky, who did not play a full season of WNBA basketball. And I want to start because I'm sure Andy might have a few things, but Funcle, when you hear something like that, as a person who follows sports, okay,
Yep.
and we know you don't follow the NBA, but as a person who follows sports,
Yeah.
when you hear something like that, what's your thought on something like that? So Caitlin Clark, one vote short of unanimous, and a young lady who didn't finish out the season. Yes, she set some awards, a couple of records. She set some records. One of them was broken already. But what enters into your mind when you hear something like that?
Whoever voted the one should have their card revoked. That's ridiculous to have something like that. Just being contrarian, like Rude said earlier with me, being contrarian is not saying that you have some kind of people get power and take that power to their head and do something like this. We're like, well, she doesn't deserve to have a unanimous thing, and then just write that just to spoil it. Yep, exactly. Yep, right.
We
Uh,
had that recently, and I'll have to look it up when he's talking because I'm sure he'll have a couple of things to say. We had that recently. Well, I remember Levitard didn't he sell his Hall of Fame vote, or didn't
He
he
let the fans vote it.
Yes, he let the fans.
He let his listeners fill out his. They voted on his Hall of Fame ballot.
Right,
I
and so
don't
you
agree with
see
that
these
either.
periodically,
But
as far as that.
but
But
it was that one was like kind of anonymous the way they did it, so nobody knew whose vote it was. And then afterwards he came out and said it, and they pulled his.
That yeah,
Yep.
I,
so,
I
Andy,
agree with
I
that.
will let you take this. So again, what when you saw it, one, did you expect it?
Yes.
Because there was a lot of lead up that it possibly could. And I remember you and I, and Ort, and even on the podcast, you and I had some debates as the
Mhm.
season went along.
Mhm.
Is it closer? We would go over the Vegas odds and things like that. So did you expect it?
I did, and the reason I expected it was, I mean, I I thought for sure. I thought when Angel Reese went down with her injury, first off, it shouldn't have been close whether she played a full season or not. I mean, she's an elite level rebounder, and that's it. That's it. I mean, Dennis Rodman was never in consideration for MVP, rookie of the year, any of that. I mean, it's just she was the second most. Nobody benefited from Caitlin Clark more than Angel Reese. And that's the truth. Nobody would know, or care outside of LSU fans about Angel Reese unless Caitlin Clark and her met in the finals, and she didn't do the "you can't see me."
Is this the WNBA version of Bird and Magic?
Except, um, except Bird and Magic were legitimately close to each other in a skill set,
Okay.
and this is
Oh,
only in social media. Yeah, I mean, it's not even close skill wise between Clark and Reese. It's not. Reese is a post player. I mean, shooting literally. She had the worst shooting percentage from 5 feet from the basket, and that's where she plays.
it's about the only highlights I saw from her. The ultimate low lights. That's how
Yeah,
she got so many rebounds.
yeah. I mean, she's a hell of a rebounder, but she's not a good shooter. You can't shoot sub 40% as a post player and be taken seriously. You can't do it. Clark shot better from three than she did from 3 to 5 feet away. It's I mean, it's not even close skill wise. The only thing is it was a rivalry in college and it carried over.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that rivalry in college, and I put it this way, tell me right now who's got the NBA record for double doubles. You can't because nobody cares.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that. It's not Andre Drummond. Have you ever heard that name?
Oh, many times. I wanted him to be a Laker
That's
at some point, only because he was a rebounder and he played defense.
right.
No, sir.
Okay,
I don't know that
exactly.
name.
Well, his career numbers are real close to what Angel Reese did this season.
Oh,
I mean, they're okay. It's nice, but 13 points, 15 rebounds, good. But that
sure.
that person isn't leading you to the championship. That person's a nice addition to a team that's a player away.
Mm,
But so that's to answer your question, the Bird and Magic thing.
mm.
You've got one of them in Caitlin Clark, but skill set on the other is just all media. Um, I knew it.
I knew it.
Oh, geez, I knew it.
I knew it when the MVP voting came out, and somebody cast an MVP vote for Angel Reese.
Oh, wow.
A
Really?
fourth, or she received a fourth place vote or something like that.
What?
Yes. And when I saw that, I was like, well, whoever cast that vote
Hmm.
is going to cast the Rookie of the Year vote for Angel Reese.
Yeah. You're
And
right.
so, as absurd as the Rookie of the Year vote was, they should have it
MVP.
revoked for an MVP vote of any kind for Angel
Yeah.
Reese.
Yeah.
Chicago didn't make the playoffs. She didn't play the entire season. I mean, what MVP of what? So that's the more egregious of the two. It doesn't take anything away from Clark. It's just it was a middle finger to Clark and her fans. Um, that's
Who
all
are
that
not
was.
watching the games right now, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
Who
yeah,
just wanted to be talked about, and they are being talked about. I mean, look at us. Look at where that vote resulted in.
I'm
A
being
lot-
forced to talk about this, by the way.
yes, he hates that vote
he does because if it wasn't for
because
that vote,
this
we would
is
have moved
now
on.
a 20-minute segment.
Yeah. Uh,
One he can't stand.
I can't.
Andy, more the non-unanimous Rookie of the Year, or the fact that Caitlin Clark finished fourth
Still
in the
going.
MVP vote.
Yeah, still going. So say that again.
More surprising, you ducking out of frame, or uh, the non-unanimous Rookie
No
of
one,
the Year, or
no one
Caitlin
could have
Clark
guessed that I would have done that.
being fourth in the MVP vote.
Um, I think she should have been a unanimous Rookie of the Year. I think that being fourth in the MVP is a nice thing, but legitimate. I don't think it's a hat tip. Like I said, almost the same Fever team last year didn't make the playoffs and won 13 games. They win 20 games this year
Yep.
and make the playoffs with the addition of Caitlin Clark. So there's, I think the Rookie of the Year not being unanimous is a bigger
Bigger
issue.
surprise.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we move on, we're gonna go ahead and do that. So that's for our good friend Funcle, at the request of his good friend, that guy.
Yep. Rookie of the
Yep.
Year. Rookie of the Year award. Go
Ever.
CC.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yes, have some.
No.
Speaking of that, that was one surprise. This is another one. We are ready for our surprise topic. And our surprise topic, we touched on the topic of it earlier. It's who wears the crown when it comes to the crown. See, you guys didn't catch it because it's a surprise topic, but I caught it.
Yeah, we
After-
didn't proofread it.
Yep. See, I caught it. You guys don't get a chance to.
Claude Hopper down in Terre Haute writing these damn banners out.
So who wears the crown when it comes to the Crown Prince of Crime? So, and what I mean by this, so here's the guidelines.
Okay.
Major motion picture.
Okay.
And I will, so no voiceover. So Mark Hamill as the voice of the Joker in
Right.
many of the in the animated series. So the was it Zach Galifianakis as the Joker in the Lego movies? That stuff doesn't apply. I
Hmm.
will allow for because there was Batman the movie, so Caesar Romero.
Okay.
Uh,
From
but
66.
yes, I want you guys to go and choose your best and your honorable mention
Just the best of the Jokers.
of who portrayed what you believe the Joker to be. And that's why I brought this up, because Andy, I know you read a lot of the comic books. Like I remember you showing me the comic book The Breaking of the Bat when you
Mhm.
got it. And I remember you showing me that comic book and me thinking, wow, this is awesome. And also, and I forget the name of it, but when the Joker blew up Robin,
He
you know?
crowbarred him first. That
Yes.
blew him up. Yep.
Boredom.
Yeah. I remember you showing me that comic book as well. And
Uh-huh.
so I know you have read and you know, not followed like you follow Star Wars stuff like that or the WNBA, but you have maybe a different idea from reading the comic books of what the Joker is and who portrayed him best. Um, versus maybe Funcle, who's more familiar with the movie Jokers.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we're going to go and I'm going to start. We'll go your honorable mention. So your one honorable mention. And Funkel, I will start with you as your honorable mention for the best portrayal of what the Joker means to you.
Um, I would probably honorable mention. I would have to go Joaquin Phoenix. That's who I would go.
Okay.
Just because of like the mental aspect of it, the mental health being us learning more and more each year and researching, and how much went into that at the time. I thought that that was a a good portrayal of the psyche of somebody that is unraveling.
Okay. And did did this Joker 2, and I'll come back to you to answer this. I want to give you a time to think while Andy
Oh,
talks about his
okay.
honorable mention. Did this portrayal in Joker 2 alter your perception of his portrayal? So, Andy, your honorable mention,
So honorable mention. How many picks are there?
just two. You get
Just
a
two.
the
Okay.
who wears the crown and who almost wore it.
Um. Yeah. I'm gonna agree with Snakes. This is probably gonna be the same list.
I
Same
think
list.
so.
Yeah.
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 But I would agree with Funkel here.
Okay.
Um,
Um, Funkel. So, did this one uh, affect your thought of Joaquin Phoenix and the Joker? Did this movie?
No, it didn't. It just reaffirmed how well he portrays the Joker. So he does that great, and yeah, it's incredible to watch something like that.
Perfect. And like you said, I'm pretty sure that's where I was kind of wondering if you guys would differ. I'm pretty sure uh, I know the answer you guys are going to have for number one, but the honorable mention one I threw in there because of just like I had described with Andy reading the comic books and having that kind of background of what the Joker was in the comic books versus Funkel. But Andy, I'll let you go ahead. Who wears the crown?
Heath Ledger. Yeah. For me, it's Heath Ledger. I think um, the thing in most of the comic books, since the beginning, it's branched off in some of the years since, but that there was just never a real forever. There was never a backstory to the Joker. The Joker was just a Joker,
Right.
and I think in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight, that was exactly what you saw.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'd get a glimpse. You thought
Right.
of who the Joker was, but every time he told his origin, it was a different
Right.
story,
That was the
which
best.
is which is just that's phenomenal storytelling,
Yeah.
telling you exactly about that character,
Yeah.
telling you something but telling you nothing.
Right.
And that was the whole point. The
Yeah.
whole point was that this enigma of this character that all you had to know is that the guy was it I don't even know if mentally ill or crazy is the right terminology. I think, he described himself as an agent of chaos, which I think is
Agent of
perfect.
Chaos.
Yep.
Yep.
And I
Absolutely.
mean, money didn't matter to him. He there's the scene where he's talking to Harvey Dent in the hospital. He's like I'm a dog chasing a I forget what he was chasing, but said, he goes, "I wouldn't know what to do with it once I caught it."
Once
He
you
said,
caught it.
"I just do,"
Right.
which
Yep.
is that's the Joker. There's
Yeah.
no it just that's it.
He's the wild card.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught it, Andy, but the irony, you called him an enigma, and I was going to say, oh, sorry, Riddler.
Riddler.
But yeah, Funkel, your reason. Well, first of all, your number one.
Yeah. It's Leto. Easily. Jared
Or Heath
Leto.
Ledger.
Yeah. No, no, Jared Leto.
No, this
With
is
the
there's no way
tattoo
he's doing that.
smile. Yeah.
He's
Dude,
in,
dude, Andy had to peek up. He was looking at like something on his phone, and you
yep,
kept
yep.
reinforcing Leto.
You're
And
you're
Andy
poking too much.
literally,
You're, mm,
Uh,
literally looked at his.
I'm gonna get that flag out of you.
oh my gosh. Oh,
You
Yeah,
almost
it's.
did.
I know. He was casually looking at his phone and be like, "You mean Heath Ledger? Heath Ledger?
Right, and
No,
you
I mean Jared Leto."
ugh, oh.
Yeah, he was the worst.
You're
Uh,
correct.
it's Heath Ledger, and it's not even close. And like you're saying, just uh, the things that he was saying, and that goes in the script writing, choosing what he's saying. But one of the key things was when Batman thinks that he's trying to kill him. He's like, "I'm not trying to kill you," and so that was just showing you right there that this guy is just enjoying the game of it all. It's like it doesn't matter the consequences for something like this. He just enjoys the sport of it, and the idea that people think that um, they can outsmart him when he doesn't even know what he's going to do. That that's what's baffling. So he did that so well, and I admit, I mean, when I heard that he was cast as Joker, I didn't believe it at all,
Me either.
and I didn't see that, and I was like, that dude. I mean, I love 10 Things That I Hate About You, but I don't see this. And then he comes in there, and I saw I knew people that worked on the production, and saw some pictures of him skateboarding in Wacker Park or Wacker Street, downtown Chicago, in full Joker makeup, and you're like, that is wild. That is crazy looking. Like I can't wait to see that. And that was not a disappointing movie.
Yeah.
So, you guys,
You guys.
was it one and two? Were they heads and tails above all the others, or was there someone who you're like, I could throw this one for honorable mention? Obviously, no one's going to top number one. Was there any thought to it might be this guy or it might be Joaquin Phoenix? Andy?
You gotta throw in Nicholson there, and I think
Right.
Nicholson's Joker worked for the Tim Burton version
Yeah.
of Batman. It
Yeah.
worked there. It was some dangerous mixed with the camp of the
Right.
TV show,
Hmm.
um, and it's Jack Nicholson, right?
Yep.
But there is a backstory to him,
Yep.
and I think one of the things that Funkel told me in a text, which I won't repeat here,
Okay.
is yeah, I mean, just I think people who are a fan of the character of Batman or anything like that, I think they're gonna want to see uh, the new Joker film
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
themselves.
for sure.
Um, despite there's some stuff in there that I think is I'm anxious to see even knowing it. You know what happens. I told him don't worry about spoiling it for me. So
I
um,
spilled it. I
yep,
spilled it all.
yeah, I think there's some very interesting things. Whether they come off and work,
Yeah,
it's going to be up to the person seeing the film. But
true.
yeah, Jack Nicholson would be the closest, but Jack Nicholson's version wouldn't work in any of these other films.
All right. Funkel, what about you? Anybody close to the first two, to the top two?
No, I mean, like you said, respect to Jack and what he was doing, and that kind of character. The only Jokers that we knew were the zany, the campy from the TV show, and we identified with this. And Jack was like a dark version of that. There was still some camp, but there were still consequences. I mean, he had an acid flower, squirting acid, and hurting your girl, Mick Jagger's Jerry Hall, right?
Uh,
Um,
yep,
well, was at the time.
yep.
Sorry, uh, but uh, but yeah, so that was like real world consequences for the camp that wasn't happening in the TV show. So that was like a dark version. This is the dark Batman. This is what everybody was waiting for, and then we saw it get darker, darker and darker
Oh yeah.
as we went. Um, so so yeah, I think that he would be the next if we had three picks, he would be next one up for
No
sure.
favorite. I'm gonna add one more. I'm
Yeah.
gonna add one
Well,
more.
there you go. You know I love that.
You do. And where is the Batman?
Yeah.
He's
And the quotes, he still has the most quotable Joker lines. I
Yep.
mean, Heath Ledger had some good ones, and the clapping when Gordon became commissioner, and that impromptu clapping was fantastic. And but outside of like the lines that people were saying, I mean, Jack nailed that with the delivery. My face on a $1 bill.
Yep.
Do I look like I'm joking? I mean, those are things that I quote all the time.
Yep.
So it's fantastic when it comes to quoting something like that.
awesome. Love the answers. Uh, love the topic because I picked it. We're gonna move along to one
Wait a
that
minute. Wait a minute. There was one more thing,
What?
wasn't there? Was there one more thing? He said there was one more thing.
What was one more thing? Sure.
who
Yeah,
what
Jake said he loved it. That
that was
it
it.
sounded like you were going to say there's one more thing.
Oh, not me.
Did I miss it? It sounded like Travis said it.
Travis, what'd you say? One more
I
thing.
don't know.
I
Well,
thought you did, and then Jake was like, I love that.
all right.
Oh,
We're moving on to a
thank you for
topic.
listening.
I feel cheated.
Set it up.
Up again.
Set it back up.
We're going to move on to our Pondering Peeps draft. Again,
Here we
this
go.
topic is something that happens on every show, and it's brought to you by Funcle. And Funcle
Hello.
is given some thought to these, and this one, take it away. You'll explain the backstory of why you chose this one.
Okay, so there's a new movie out that is directed by Jason Reitman, who is the son of Ivan Reitman of Ghostbuster fame, and he did the Ghostbusters movie. But he did a movie called Saturday Night, which is based on the very first Saturday Night Live before they went live. This is 90 minutes before that going to air. And it has people portraying real world people when it comes to Lauren Michaels, when it comes to Milton Berle, when it comes to Chevy Chase, John Belushi, all of these classics that we know and have come to love. This is the 50-year anniversary of Saturday Night Live, and there were questions whether or not it was even going to be a show. So this was a feature film that just came out last weekend, and I thought it would be a good idea to discuss and have a draft on our favorite SNL cast members.
Very well. Hey, real quick before we start, did you see the movie?
Yes,
And
I liked it a lot more than Joker.
all right,
Yep,
I'm anxious to see that one.
Cindy Crawford's daughter's in it.
Really?
Yeah, Kai Gerber.
Okay.
Yep,
That's right.
and J.K. Simmons plays Milton Berle.
Does he really?
Whoa.
Yep, Yep. You know anything about Milton Berle?
Yeah, I've heard
I'll
about
bet you
some
only know
stuff.
one thing, and they
Yep.
bring it up.
Of course they do. Yep. Um, so the question we are pondering is live from wherever we are
Yep.
is who are the best SNL cast members of all time?
Yeah.
And as always, Funcle, it's your question. You decide who kicks off the draft with the number one. And I am predicting that this one will result in some steals from other people. That's
Oh, is
just
that right?
that's my thought.
Okay. Well, we'll see if you're right about that, and I'll let you start it off so you can be the first to steal.
Hey, all right. I'm going to go only because it was tough. I know one of them was going to get stolen, so thank you for letting me go first.
Yep.
I'm going to go Bill Murray. I just have to go Bill Murray. You
Star Wars.
feeling
¿Quién es más macho? Lamas
Thomas or Ricardo Montalban?
Montalban. Lamas
Thomas.
o Montalban?
Oh,
I
yeah.
just Bill
Okay.
Murray and some of the characters as we just mentioned, Nick the Lounge Singer, just after always some that Andy and I just
Oh,
back and forth periodically.
yeah.
Uh, it's plus his delivery of as a comedian. I love just I'll say the kind of background. It's just hey, this is something you could actually see a lounge singer, but then he
Oh
takes
yeah.
it to that next level and makes
Yeah.
it memorable. So I'm going to do Bill Murray as my and the number one overall pick.
Oh,
Excellent pick.
solid choice.
That's a great pick. Yep. Good job. Rude. Follow that up.
John Belushi.
Yep.
John.
Yep.
John Belushi.
Juliet Jake.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, to me, that was, if I had the first pick or not, it's John Belushi for me. Yeah. Joliet, Jake, Blues, the Samurai,
Oh yeah.
um, um, Cheeseburger, Cheeseburger, Pepsi,
Yeah.
Pepsi.
No
Uh,
no Coke Pepsi. No
yep.
Coke Pepsi.
Yeah.
No fries cheaps. No fries cheaps.
Yep. His Captain Kirk
Oh,
Oh,
in there. I mean, just one after another. When SNL
B.
does the little commercials in between things,
Yeah.
he's talking about um, training for the Olympics,
oh,
and
Oh,
it's not Wheaties, but it's little chocolate donuts, and he's
he's got the
that's
cigarette.
why he's got a cigarette too, and it shows him, you know, running, and he like crosses the finish line. He's like, yeah, it's so ridiculous, but
yeah.
that's why little chocolate donuts have been on my training table for a long time.
Long time.
And that physique, Joe Cocker impersonation.
Oh,
Oh
Um,
yeah. So
I
good.
mean, it just goes on and on with him, a legitimate wild man.
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, John Belushi.
Great. Great pick.
Funful for two. I'm very interested.
Yeah. The old turnaround here.
Yep.
Mhm.
My first pick. Uh, it's tough. I mean, it's tough for us just to do three picks. There's
I
so
know.
many of them. I'm gonna go with Will Ferrell. Will
Nice.
Ferrell as my first, a newer version, but the '90s cheerleader, cowbell, um, uh, Robert Goulet, uh,
Alex Trebek.
Alex Trebek, Celebrity Jeopardy.
Yep.
Yeah, he did so many great ones, and the commercials when he's like talking to the dog. He's like,
Yep.
just remember,
Yep.
and I can't say that
Yeah.
Patreon. um, but yeah, he could be a straight man, he could be a zany man, but he was always fantastic. And doing those songs with the other cast member from church where he had the bald thing on there and the beard, and they would do modern songs and sing like in their choir.
Yep.
Um, so that was fantastic. So I would go with Will Ferrell, and for the turnaround, the turnaround too. I'll probably have to go with Chris Farley. Around the same era, a little,
Yep.
not necessarily the same era, a little earlier.
Yep.
But Farley with the Chippendales, Farley with Matt Foley, inspirational,
Yep.
motivational speaker. Uh,
The Bears.
the Bears. There's so many things that he did. The What was it? The beer commercial. It wasn't Schlitz,
No.
but it was yeah. When it's a meme now where he like flips up the the
Yep.
glasses. It's like whoa.
Yep.
So, so those are my two.
Yeah.
That it's tough. There's so many still on the board though.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
Classics. So you can't go wrong here. We're all gonna have some Hall of Famers. So those would be my two.
Yeah.
Rude,
Yeah.
you're up next.
Uh, gonna go with Eddie Murphy.
I was
Nice.
waiting. I knew I shouldn't have waited.
Yep.
Dang it.
Yep.
There it is.
Eddie
I just
Murphy.
knew it.
Buckwheat. Mr.
Oh yeah.
Robinson's
Mr.
Neighborhood.
Robinson's
James
Neighborhood
Brown.
and the
Oh,
hot tub.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Uh, do you guys remember the one where he wanted to experience life as a white man for a day?
Oh yeah, they painted up and
Yep.
went on the bus
Mr.
and then,
White,
yeah.
and then went to the bank and they just handed him the money.
pay us back or don't.
Or don't.
We don't care.
We don't care.
Right after kicking the black
the
guy
one,
out.
the one
Yeah, they
black
wouldn't
guy
give him
gets
the
off
loan.
and they have a waiter, a waitress, cocktail waitress, champagne bust out on the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
Unreal.
wild.
Yeah, I mean, that's some Chappelle show stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Way before.
Decades before.
Yep. It's
Yep.
very true. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yep,
Eddie
that was
Murphy.
a great pick. Yep.
This is how we answer the door in my neighborhood.
Who is it?
Who is it?
Oh, all right. So I get two.
Yeah, you got a twofer.
I'm gonna go Dan Aykroyd.
Oh,
That's
Yep.
solid. That's so good. Yeah.
And
he was represented well in this movie.
yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
I was I was like, man, I freaking love Dan Aykroyd.
there he goes, taught himself, folks. And I keep coming back. Patreon.
Yeah.
Jane.
Oh, yep. I know that
I
one.
think you could say that on network TV.
Let's try it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Trav.
You can say it.
Wait,
I'll say it.
okay.
Jane, you ignorant slut.
They said it on TV.
Yeah.
That's how we know it.
Yes.
Yes.
And just the delivery
Oh my
Yep.
god, yes.
in there, so good.
Fantastic.
Super
Yeah.
bassomatic.
Yeah.
The wild and crazy guys.
Wild and crazy guys. Yeah.
The Toneheads,
Boneheads. Oh
Yeah.
my God. One after
Julia
another.
Child. Julia Child.
Oh, I cut my
Ooh, I cut myself.
With the mustache. He's got the
With the
mustache when he's doing it.
and a cigarette, I think.
and
And
Elwood.
Elwood.
And of course, Elwood. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, oh man. I think people underestimate the creative force that Dan Aykroyd was back
Absolutely.
in
Yes.
the 80s, the
Yeah,
early
totally.
80s, late 70s. I
Yep.
mean, this dude, wrote and, I mean, it was astonishing the amount of stuff this guy was turning out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And-
Yeah. He's a genius. I love
You
it.
ever get a chance to listen to his Blues Hour
Oh, yeah.
and just listening to him talk?
Mhm.
If you're so used to him like me before I listened to that, it was the movies, it was the corny, funny movies, it was the great movies like Blues Brothers, not so great movies like
Nothing but trouble.
yes, that's exactly what I was gonna say. But
But
then
Tupac was in it.
Yeah.
That's
It's
right.
Digital Underground.
Yep. That's
Yep.
right.
and then you
Demi
listen to him
Moore.
talk on that Blues Hour, it's just totally different, and
Yeah.
that's where I'm going. And then on the turnaround, I
Okay.
wanted to go as a favor to you guys. I didn't want to get stuck in the old days. Who does that? Who recommends
Who would put themselves in a different era like that? And so
exactly?
you went with Mike Tirico.
A safe bet.
That's
Thank
safe.
you guys.
Fairways all day.
Yep.
280 right in the fairway, and I'll play from there. I'm fine, guys.
Thank you.
I'm going Phil Hartman. That
Phil Hartman, that's a great pick.
yeah, dude,
That
just
dude is fantastic.
the impersonations.
Mhm.
Got the Frank Sinatra, uh,
Yep. Bill
Ron Reagan,
Clinton,
Bill Clinton.
he goes into McDonald's and just chomping all over those fries. You know what I'm saying?
And yeah, just if for nothing else, just the spot or the great impersonations, but the comedic add-on to it,
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, Phil Hartman for me. I wanted to do two of the traditional, and then bring somebody newer, and that's about as
Mhm.
new as I get is the '90s. So
Yep. That's
you're
true.
welcome out there, folks.
Thank you. Stay away from this century, whatever you do.
Andy, your last pick.
Man, I got two. Do I want to go new?
I hope one of them is what Jade's got a look on his face right now.
I
He's
do. I do.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's my obvious one, but do I want to go obvious? Because I've went
You didn't
pretty
go.
big.
You haven't gone obvious. I mean, you've gone Hall of Famers, man.
Yeah, I I'm gonna go
And remember,
against.
this is them as SNL cast members on the SNL. It's not what they've
Right,
done afterwards or before. This is just them.
Chevy Chase.
there.
He was only on for like a year.
I know, but that Weekend Update wouldn't have been what it was without him. And then the physical comedy of the Gerald Ford
Yeah.
Oh,
and
Well, him and Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor. Yeah.
Word
oh,
association game.
dead honky.
And apparently they didn't like each other anyway,
No,
so that did
no.
not help.
There's a lot of people in show business that don't like Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rubbed
He
a
was
lot of
not
people the wrong way. Yeah,
Represented well in this movie then.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because he saw himself as a star, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Right off the bat.
Yep. Yeah, but
all right.
Weekend Updates, the Gerald Ford stuff, um, for me, he's one of the people that has impeccable comedic timing.
Yeah.
I mean, just like, even, and this has nothing to do with SNL, so I'm going to get struck for it, but a little bit of genius is the "You Can Call Me Al" video
Oh yeah, yeah.
with
Yes.
Yeah.
and my favorite moment in that entire thing is the glass of water into
There's
the conga drum stand that's not a table
not a table.
and doesn't miss a beat. You know
Doesn't
what I
miss
mean?
a beat.
It's all
Yep.
planned, but it doesn't look like
Uh-huh.
it. He's like picks up
Yep.
the water, drinks it, looks,
Uh-huh.
puts it over there, it falls to the floor. Just
Mhm.
keeps going. Genius.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is. So I'm not mad at that pick at all.
All right, thank you.
Funcle, take us home, bud.
I'm gonna go with one that gets me a little sentimental. And that's Gilda Radner.
Oh,
Good call. She was. Yep.
Heartbreaking. She was just like everybody loved her, and that's represented well in this. And watching any kind of documentaries and her book that she wrote and getting together with Gene Wilder. Yeah, for some reason I don't know what it is, but she just seemed so genuine and just doing whatever she could to get a laugh out of people, and just seemed like one of the nicest people in the world. And it was great. And there's a famous picture of her like in the camera like swing crew. So it has a big crane that goes up, and she's sitting on the crane with the camera and everything. And she just seemed like she got along with everybody, was like the kid sister on set and around, and everybody just adored her. So that would be my pick, just because she was fantastic.
great pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well
Yep.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's easy. We only had three, and
Yeah,
There's
I mean,
so many.
I
We
got
could
some other
keep
ones
going.
lined up.
Oh,
Absolutely.
dude,
Had we had another one,
uh-oh.
Yeah.
Wait, you don't
Casey
sound like
Sudeikis.
Sudeikis.
Yep,
Yes.
yep,
Background dancer.
yep, and the one that keeps playing when on Instagram and whatnot.
Judge.
Yes, with him
Oh
and
my
Jamie.
gosh. I love that. Aren't they up in Maine, Justice?
And the beauty of
Jamie
Saturday
Foxx
Night,
can't hold it together.
yeah, the
That's
beauty of
available.
Saturday Night Live is people not being able to keep a straight face
It's so
in the
great
skit.
when that
Those are
happens.
always the best ones.
Oh,
Yeah.
I said,
I-
eat the hottest bowl of
The
jambalaya.
hottest bowl of jambalaya.
And
I've-
somebody say to put out that ass
That's
fire.
fire.
That's when he loses. And then when he kisses Jamie Foxx, kisses his arm, that's when he really loses it.
So good.
I
Oh,
had Daryl Hammond as another one.
yeah. Daryl Hammond.
Connery.
That's a
Oh my
Trico
God,
pick. Come on, man.
dude.
Daryl Hammond?
Yep. Because of and it's
Why do you like
music-
him?
Is Bill Clinton
Yeah, the Bill
No.
Clinton, the Sean Connery,
on
Celebrity
on
Jeopardy.
Celebrity Jeopardy?
Oh my
Yeah.
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 dude.
Oh, Norm McDonald's Burt Reynolds.
Ah, it's a big hat.
Eh.
Yeah. It's not my name. Jared Ferguson. Yeah. It's funny. It's a funny name.
Burt Reynolds has apparently changed his name to Turd Ferguson.
Ah, that's funny. Just chomping away at his
Yep.
gum.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, speaking of Will Ferrell, all you had to do was write a number.
Threve. Yes. Roman numeral 5. The V. Yes. Suck it, Trebek. Oh.
Classic. Oh,
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah.
Oh lordy!
That's
All
great.
right, we're gonna move on to our last segment, and this is again another regular on our podcast. It's Your Playlist Sucks, You Can Borrow Ours, and the premise behind this is every week we have a playlist titled Your Playlist Sucks, You Can Borrow Ours. It's on Apple Music and Spotify, and every week we add a song to it. Some of us choose older songs, some of us choose newer songs. We'd love to hear your comments, see who you're liking, whose picks you're questioning, and who's wondering why I can't leave past 1971. But we're going to go ahead and just Funcle. Hey, choose
Yeah.
again, bud.
I went with you last time. So, Rude, you can start us off, bud.
all right. Well, inspired by all the talk of Joker, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with probably the newest pick that we've ever done.
Oh,
And
you go to the score?
this is actually off of
Oh,
an
you bought the
inspired
vinyl
by
already?
an inspired by album.
Uh-huh. Oh, look at that.
Harlequin.
Wow.
Yeah, Harlequin by Lady Gaga just came out here this
Very
week.
cool.
So songs inspired by the film or her character.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of covers on this, a lot of covers, a couple new songs that she wrote, but really digging this stuff that's on here.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go. There were like 3 on here that I'm just like, man, I really like this, and they're old songs, but the
Go
The
on.
version.
yeah
See, this
yeah
guy is all ears now.
the production of them is just, man, it's good. So I'd read an article
Uh-huh.
about this when it was coming out, that she performing this as her character in
Oh,
the
wow.
film. Okay,
Okay.
so one of the things she did in there is that did they ever refer to her as Harley Quinn in the movie, or she's just Lee?
They read off in the news as her first name Harley, and then Quinn something else.
Quinzel.
Quinzel, yes.
Yep.
Harley
So-
Quinzel. But she's referred all through the movie as Lee.
Right. So
Annoying.
yeah, you wanted Harley?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So doing this, she does this as that character, as someone who isn't a trained singer,
Okay.
as someone who doesn't know the breathing. That when you're
Right.
a professional singer, you breathe in certain patterns and whatnot. So forgetting that, somebody who really likes to sing but doesn't have the professional training, so it's a little more raw
Oh, so
in
like
in
me.
the yeah,
Okay,
perfect,
perfect. Perfect.
perfect.
Yep.
So it's a little more raw in the delivery of stuff, but I love that
Yeah.
and whatnot. So I had like three that I was gonna pick from. Um, but I'm gonna go with "Oh When the Saints."
Oh.
Okay.
When the Saints go, essentially, when the Saints go marching in, the
Yeah.
production value and the instrumentation of it, and then her vocals on it,
Mm-hmm.
not not the traditional way of hearing it, but the big band and whatnot. Very interesting. I could have went with about three different ones because there's some really good tracks on that. But that one, for whatever reason, the horns and everything,
Yeah.
real upbeat version of that. And yeah, that's what I'm
That's
going with.
played throughout the movie
Is
multiple
it really?
different times. Yep. Yep.
Yep.
So
So
that was a big one for them.
really, did they do a musical number to it?
Uh, yes.
All
Yes.
right.
And multiple times that song was coming up, and the meaning of it got turned around a couple times.
Okay. All
That's
right.
all. I don't want to spoil anything else, but yeah, that's in there. You kind of like you can hear Lady Gaga's theme in Top Gun Maverick when you
Hmm.
listen back,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you
It's on
hear
the
that play
jukebox and
throughout.
yep.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, that's when the Saints come marching in
Yeah.
this movie.
So in here, real quick, then, uh,
Go.
"Good Morning." Is that in there?
Good morning.
Hmm.
I can't remember
Okay.
that.
Uh, "Get Happy."
Yes.
Okay. "When the Saints," "World on a String."
Yep.
"If My Friends Could See Me Now."
Yeah. I think these are all in there. There probably is a good morning. I'm just not remembering it.
That's Entertainment.
Oh yeah,
"Smile."
that's a big one. Yep.
Then there's one called "The Joker." If that's in there, I don't know if it's in the thing. I think that's one of the new ones. And then, um, let's see, there's "Fully Ado."
Yeah.
I'm "Gonna Build a Mountain."
That's a huge one.
That was one of the ones I was gonna pick. "Close to You."
Yeah.
"Happy Mistake." That's a new one.
Okay.
And then "That's Life."
Yep. That's a big one too.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. Great instrumentation on this. I haven't opened up the vinyl yet, but I will.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That would be interesting for you to listen to that after seeing the movie.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll report next week.
Or whenever. Just
We'll be doing this for a while. Why not? Just
Okay.
whenever.
yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right. Trav, you're up, bud.
All right, guys. The year is 1958.
Of course it is. I was gonna say it.
Damn, man. 58 again?
It's a good year, my friends.
How do you know?
Yeah, how do you know? Well,
I'm assuming it was because of the
because of the music.
this.
Yeah. Okay.
After this pick, are there any songs left from 1958?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my best
he,
to
he
find them.
he goes back to Dr. Pepper commercials.
Oh, a very unique kind of a song like I had never heard before. Not that I had heard a ton, but again, listening to oldies, and this one sticks out, and I will always play it. My daughter loves it. When she was younger, I'd sing it to her, and she would smile. And it's "Chantilly Lace" by the Big Bopper. And we would do the phone call, and she and I would sing the "Hello, baby," and just it's just a fun song.
You sang that with your daughter?
The "Hello,
Can
baby."
I what?
Yep.
Can I what? Isn't that kind of racy? What are you
Well,
doing?
well, we're
He's a big
enjoying music.
bopper.
Well, and she, listen to the music she can turn on the radio today and listen to.
Okay. All right.
You know, there's
No, you're right.
there's
Fun
plenty of
song.
songs out there now that she could listen to that are a lot worse.
That's true.
Um,
Well,
but I just liked the song because it was fun, and then of course the tie-in on the plane crash that killed Buddy Holly and Richie Valens. But yeah, it's just one that from that time frame was that I love. It's one of the ones that stands out, as many do from that year, and they should.
what a year.
It was a good
What
year.
a year to be alive and listening to the radio.
That's right. Cruising
Uh,
around in my '57 Chevy.
Wow, you must have a lot of money. That was last year's model?
That's right.
Jeez.
Big bopper.
Oh, yeah, you are the big bopper.
I want to see that on the plate. Bopper.
All right. Yeah. I don't have much more to say.
Okay, no, you don't. Yep, it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm up with my pick, and I wanted to do mine. We're coming into we are in October right now, which is a thank you.
So
Yes.
there.
Phone rang.
Yeah, so we got spooky time of season is right now, and I have a song that is modern but also has a throwback to I think Trav, you'll like
1958?
it because it has a vibe to it at the beginning of Mr. Hip's Elvis at the beginning of it,
Go on.
and then closes out with the typical boom boom, that kind of thing.
I'm all ears.
Yep, the song is called Sleepy Eyes, and the artist is Eerie Wanda. Eerie Wanda. And I think it
Is
came
that
out.
2 words?
It is. Yep.
Erie and Wanda.
Eerie Wanda. Like
Okay.
pee. Yeah. But
It's like you got
yeah,
credit
it's
for saying it right. Erie Wanda. Ding. Yeah, you are correct, sir. Yeah.
correct. Or either that or an angel's getting their wings.
Yeah.
Every time a bell rings.
Uh-huh.
Ding, ding.
Ding, ding.
Or it's 2:30 in the morning and my daughter's not asleep.
Yep. Why
You
is she not asleep? What's going on? You need to sing. You need the big bopper to put her to sleep?
No.
All right, Trav, take us home, buddy.
All right, guys. As always, thank you for listening. We, as you can tell, we missed you guys because it's a 2-hour and 20-minute episode because we didn't
record
last week.
We put two into one.
That's right. We
Like
have
the Spice Girls.
wow.
They have that song, Two Become One.
Yeah.
Look,
All right.
Just a
Not
folks,
from 1958.
No, no. How do you know about that song, Trav?
I heard it on a commercial
Oh,
while
before.
I was watching.
So there's going to be an uptick in some streaming of Milli Vanilli, because they were featured in the Menendez True Crime show on Netflix, and so that song will probably be. You'll hear that a lot. It'll be coming up. They dedicated that. They played that at their parents for their mother. I'm gonna miss you.
Yes, Beth was watching the show, and I just stopped and I said, "What is happening right now? What are you
Why is
watching?"
Milli Vanilli on?
And I'm
I'll
like,
tell you that
She stopped
Colleen
watching.
was watching it too, and I'm like, this is a terrible. This show is terrible. The acting is terrible. The production value looks terrible.
You didn't like it, huh?
No.
Oh,
No.
I loved it.
Beth stopped it. She's like, it got too weird. She told me the other day. She's like, I'm not watching it anymore. It got too weird and too gross, and she was done.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's based on real events, though. That's all factual stuff that they were talking about.
Well,
It's the worst bald wig in the history of cinema.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's bad.
That's terrible looking.
Yeah, Lyle is hilarious though. That guy is hilarious.
High strung.
He's like a Bill Paxton character in Weird Science.
Yep. Yep.
They got they submitted for a review of evidence that
Yeah.
because of it, and more importantly, Kim Kardashian says they should go free. So
Yeah, well, if she says it, they should.
yep,
Yep.
Although there's a big rush of they're getting a lot of mail right now to get their basketball card autographed.
Yeah, Mark Jackson.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. They get those in the prison mail a lot to autograph the basketball card.
Really?
Yes.
I believe it.
Yep. I read that in an article just today.
Huh.
all right.
Interesting.
Well, folks, that's going to do it for episode 16. Again, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for just going along the ride with us and having fun. As you can see, each and every time we'll start one place, we'll end up another. Final thoughts, Funcle. What do you got?
Well, I don't want it to always be about driving related things.
Yeah,
So
who would have the same thought each and every? Yeah, that would just.
I don't want to do that. We already got somebody doing something like that. I'll just say, just be kind to each other. You know, don't be a jerk. Just take a second and breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Just breathe. Listen to that
Just
song.
breathe.
Holy smokes! Yeah,
Fair
you know
enough.
that song, right? Just breathe from Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a song!
Isn't there a
breathe.
country song, Just Breathe?
There could be.
Faith
Sounds
Hill
like a
has a
country
song.
song.
Faith Hill. Faith Hill, yes.
Yeah.
All right. So it's not Patsy Cline from the.
Dang it. You're crazy.
Thank you, sir. Andy, your final thoughts.
Well, once again, when Caitlin Clark is walking to her car, she can put her Rookie of the Year trophy in a shopping cart,
Uh-huh.
Okay.
take it to her car,
Right.
and she will put her cart away.
So explain this to me again. So
Yes.
she's at the grocery store and she's picking up her Rookie of the Year
She's taking it
award?
with her. It's like the
It's just
Stanley
riding
Cup.
with her?
It's like the
It's
Stanley Cup where you get it. You know,
Okay.
if you play on the winning team, I believe the thing is you get the
You
Stanley
get it for
Cup
a day.
for a day,
Yeah.
and you can do what you want with it.
Right.
And some of
Right.
these guys, I've seen a guy take it in the pool,
Yep.
take it to a bar, and they
Yeah.
fill it up. People drink out of the Stanley Cup. It's the same thing with
Right.
the Rookie of the Year. It's not as well known, but people do
True.
it.
Yep.
That's what I've
It
heard.
might turn around with her. She's popularity, right?
Yep.
So
But to steal a little your thunder, I've never heard that. I
Yeah.
just made that up.
I just made that.
Oh. And for me, thank you.
What you
That's
got?
pretty much it. Make sure to like.
Drink your Ovaltine.
Drink your Ovaltine. A crummy commercial?
Son of a. The numbers were coming fast and furious.
All right, Ma, I'll be right out.
Crying out loud.
Come on, Randy's got to go.
Make sure to like, subscribe, follow. We are continuing to do, I say more and more, but trust me, we're trying just to get on par with most of these other podcasts on Facebook. We have somebody, a co-host that has well over 1,000 followers. So we're going to probably hijack his TikTok and post some of this stuff. That's how you get noticed, people. So make sure to click the bell. So
ding, ding.
There it is, folks. Thank you, everyone. We've had fun. Tune in next week where we'll talk more stuff.